Ladies and gentlemen, we are gathered here today. Excuse me, to burp. Hello, Sparky. And Punny, how's it going? Let's get that going. Does the same thing every time. We are gathered here today. Just got it. I've been monetized, Punny. I've been monetized for a while. So. What, a very long time no see? How have you been? How have you been? Gosh, I'm trying to get all my keys out. I'm trying to get my headphones out. I was like, my pockets are full and I'm sitting down. My wallet on my butt. Yeah, my wallet's out. 50 pages I didn't have to. Sounds good, Cube. No dying. Why are you having a bad day? No bad days. It's the first time you got an ad from me? Interesting. Also, I've been doing good. Doing good. Almost lost my voice and then Red Bull. The power of Red Bull. Healing it back up. We might drink that later. Maybe. We are back. With potentially the finale of this game. Potentially. We have one ending so far. Potentially, we may get 4 more. It's got attacked by a toilet and some pipes. That's not good. Not good at all. Also, perquisite. Not prerequisite, it's perquisite. Is the word of the day today. We are in the 1700 hour. We are there. We have 4 people we could start with, because we're not starting with Maria. We're going to start with the surprise attack. We'll see where it goes. We're going to start with Kano today. Not Dachi. We got to start with Kano. I've been told specifically. A gunshot rang out from Teteno's gun, but it was a wild shot, fired reflexively as the weapon flew out of his hand. A figure had leapt from behind the water storage tank, kicking him in the arm that held the gun. Then, moving almost too fast for the eye to track, the newcomer delivered an elbow strike to Teteno's jaw. Kano didn't even have a chance to fire his gun. Before he could react, Maria's kidnapper was already laid out on the ground. What up, Justin? Without so much as looking back, the girl bolted down the stairs. Maria! Kano shouted. He started to chase after her, but a bright glimmer in the corner of his eyes stopped him in his tracks. The strange assailant had drawn a knife and was preparing to slit the unconscious Teteno's throat. Kano quickly brought his gun back to bear. Stop right there! The knife stopped mere millimeters from Teteno's neck. It's canon, I think. Kano was sure that if he hadn't intervened, the detective's throat would have been slit already. 105 of this? Gotcha. There's a lot more. There's a lot more to this. The knife wielder pulled back the hood from that had been concealing her face. You. I know you, Kano said, shocked to see that he recognized the attacker. It's canon. It was a girl who'd been knocked down by the minivan explosion. Why stop me? She asked, her tone ice cold. Weren't you just about to shoot him yourself? I don't have a reason to shoot him anymore. Not now that you've helped Maria escape. Please put the knife away. Very well. Looks like he's not waking up for a while anyway. Poor Teteno, down and out. The girl withdrew the knife and rose to her feet. Why did you come to Maria's rescue? Because she's my friend, the girl said simply. She's been infected with the virus, Kano said. We have to get her help as soon as possible. He headed for the stairs that Maria had scampered down. Not so fast. Don't move. The girl's sharp tone made Kano stop. What for? He demanded. I thought you wanted to help. I do want to help her, which is why I'm not letting the police get their hands on her. The girl's voice was quiet but hard as steel. The police are afraid of the UA virus spreading, which is why they'll certainly place Maria under quarantine. If that happens, there won't be any way to save her. Just who in the world are you? Before I answer that, let's make a deal. Kano waited, non-committal. I have information relevant to this case, the girl continued. I want to make an exchange. Kano swallowed the lump in his throat. In exchange for what? Tell me where Hitomi Osawa is. Hitomi Osawa? Stanley had taken Hitomi into custody. Kano could probably get in touch and ask him where she was, but... Why do you want to know where Hitomi is? Do we have a deal or not? The girl looked like she was in no mood to argue. Still, if she knew about the UA virus, she was probably telling the truth about having information. But it was a violation of police policy to leak information on any investigation to a third party. Besides, was it wise to trust this young woman without knowing who she was? We know her. She's canon. She'll kill us. She'll gut our guts. In her dick. She'll probably kill us. Kano weighed his options for a moment before replying. Alright, I'll tell you. No way I can't share that info. First, I need to know who you are. First, I need to know who you are. My name is Cannon. Cannon? Kano thought back to the grisly scene at the Foreign Syndicate's hideout. Did she do that? Kano was almost afraid to wonder. As if sensing his unease, Cannon spoke up, her voice low and calm. Once you hear what I have to say, I think you'll be more inclined to tell me where Hitomi is. There was still a lingering trace of adolescence in this girl's strange face. Girl's strange face? Strange girl's face. Goodness gracious. It was hard to believe someone so young could be a covert Middle Eastern operative. And yet, Kano had seen how quickly she'd been able to render Teteno unconscious. Alright then, guess I'll go first, Cannon began. There's someone out there trying to get their hands on the antiviral drug. My objective is to eliminate this person and put a stop to their plan. Kano felt neither surprise nor horror at her use of the term eliminate. After all that had happened today, he realized his sensibilities had gone numb. This person you're after. You're talking about an arms dealer named Alphard, aren't you? Cannon nodded. The UA virus has been weaponized and tested several times on the battlefield to great effect, she said. The antiviral would render this weapon wholly ineffective. Countries the world over are dying to get their hands on it. Then why did Alphard orchestrate this kidnapping? If the goal is to get the antiviral, why not just steal it from the laboratory? Yo, Yoshimelon with that $1 score bun. What up, Kitoni-kun? How's it going? And true, very true. Thank you for the $1, by the way, Yoshi. I appreciate it. There was a lot about this kidnapping's case that still didn't add up. Kano was sure Alphard's plan was hidden in those baffling details. Lab security at Okoshi Pharmaceutical is practically perfect. The place is under surveillance 24 hours a day, and getting to where the antiviral is stored requires bypassing 3 sophisticated electronic locks. Getting the antiviral out is impossible. Unexpectedly, a sly grin appeared on Cannon's face. If you were Alphard, how would you steal it? She asked. Huh? Kano was taken aback by the sudden question. He thought good and hard about how to answer. There must be some way to get those locks open, right? Osawa heads up to the lab. Wouldn't he be able to get it out? If you could sneak something out, maybe you could sneak something in? You wouldn't need to steal it, just wait until the drug hits pharmacy shelves, right? If you can't sneak something out, maybe you can sneak something in? Because Hitomi has it inside her veins. If you can't sneak something out, maybe you can sneak something in. Kano hadn't actually had any particular flash of insight. He just figured the opposite of the obvious might be the answer. To his surprise, Cannon gave a nod. Very astute. Wait, really? We're surprised. What? 6 days ago, Alphard injected Hitomi Osawa with the UA virus. What? The tale had taken a sudden and very unexpected turn. So it wasn't only Maria who had been affected, but Hitomi as well? And 6 days ago at that. Wait, hold on. Hitomi Osawa was perfectly healthy earlier today. So that must mean... Exactly. Kenji Osawa administered the antiviral to her. An unsettling thought occurred to Kano. It was supposedly impossible for Osawa to access the antiviral all by himself. But if he'd been able to give it to his daughter all the same, then that had to mean... He needed Mamoru Tanaka's help to do it, of course, Kanan said. Which is why Alphard bribed Tanaka ahead of time. So that's what happened. Because that's why Tanaka's in the van killed. Tanaka had been paid off to inject Hitomi with the virus. Getting Osawa to take action at that point wouldn't have been difficult. But why go to such lengths to get the antiviral administered to Hitomi? Why would Alphard have Hitomi infected with the virus only to then have her father cure it? It's been roughly a week since she was given the antiviral. The DDS is still in her body. The what? Essentially, taking blood from Hitomi Osawa now would allow someone to extract minuscule amounts of the antiviral. Kano was stunned. Suddenly all of these seemingly unrelated threads were beginning to form a pattern. Hey Cassie, how's it going? So, since getting the antiviral itself out of the lab wasn't an option, Alphard must have thought of using a human vessel, he murmured. Which is Hitomi! We already knew this, though. We already knew this. True, Kitone, true. Which means the thing that Alphard's really after is... Kennen nodded. Yes, Hitomi's blood, she finished. Alfred specifically requested that Hitomi make the ransom handoff, Cannon said. Additionally, the crime syndicate was hired to carry out a relay with the attaché case containing the ransom money. This would disrupt the investigation and distract the police, allowing the kidnappers to target Hitomi in secret. So everything's wrapping up now. Everything's wrapping up. Cool. Wait, no, hold on. There's something about this story that still made no sense to Kano. Tell me this, he said to Cannon. Why not just kidnap Hitomi in the first place? Why not use Tanaka for the vessel instead of Hitomi? Was there really no other way to get at the antiviral? Yeah, why not use Tanaka? Does Bombay blood really need to be the specific here? Why not use Tanaka for the vessel instead of Hitomi? Why not use Tanaka for the vessel instead of Hitomi? Tanaka could enter the lab along with Osawa, then secretly inject himself with the antiviral. It didn't seem like that would be terribly difficult. I could question if getting the antiviral were the only goal. That would be the most expedient means of doing it. So then why use Hitomi Osawa? Kano asked. Ken thought for a moment before answering. Tanaka may have objected to the idea of giving himself the drug. I hear that it can have some severe side effects. But she seemed unconvinced by her own words. Do you know why they targeted Hitomi? Kano demanded. I don't, but I'm sure there must be some reason. Alfred hadn't gone with using Tanaka, which would have been the sure thing. Instead, they'd gone with Hitomi. Hey, Queen Cheese, welcome to the stream. How's it going? Hitomi was injected with the virus, brought into the lab, and used to sneak the antiviral out. Now the plan was to extract the antiviral from Hitomi's blood. Something about this idea still struck Kano as incredibly odd. So wait, why not just abduct Hitomi from the very beginning? Why kidnap Maria instead? Had the kidnappers mistaken Maria for Hitomi? Surely they couldn't have been so foolish as to abduct the wrong target. The girls had gotten themselves mixed up, had they? Well, had the kidnappers mistaken Maria for Hitomi? We already knew that. The two were twins after all, so it wasn't inconceivable, but... It's my fault that Maria was kidnapped. Kenan looked away. I contacted her before this all started. I told her about the kidnapping plan, and I gave her a GPS beacon to give to her sister so that I could track Hitomi's location after she was abducted. But my plan backfired. Maria switched places with Hitomi and let herself get taken by Alfard. True, Kitone, but this is nice for Kano to understand now. It explains how he's gonna know. What the hell? Why hadn't Maria taken this to the police? Or if she was so determined to protect her sister, why not just get her to leave town or something like that? Also, keep in mind, Kitone, a lot of people who are like jumping into the series right now, even on stream, kind of get confused with all the different storylines. So starting with Kano, which I'm glad we started with Kano, to be honest, is wrapping up all of the story for everyone who is still a little bit confused. There must have been some sort of accident, though, Kenan continued. The GPS was never turned on after the kidnapping, and I wasn't able to track Maria down. But there was something that even Alfard hadn't counted on. Kenan cast a glance over at Teteno. This person right here, she said. So Teteno had disrupted Alfard's plan by going after Hitomi himself. Considering where it's all led, Kenan continued, Alfard must be panicking about now, but we can't let her down our guard. Even now, I'm sure the mastermind is thinking of some way to fit what this man has done into the master plan. So it's a perfectly imperfect plan. Is that what you're saying? Precisely. Kenan flashed Kano an approving grin. I heard that from Stanley, Kano said, the man who drove you to the hospital earlier. That case officer, huh? Case officer? So that was it. Stanley was CIA. The U.S. Embassy in Akasaka functions as the headquarters for the CIA's Japan branch. As the embassy building is not reliably secure, however, the agency carries out many of its activities in specially constructed embassy annex facilities, often under the guise of cultural exchange organizations. There are reportedly over 100 CIA personnel active in Japan, but given the inherent secrecy involved, the exact number is not officially known. Sounds about right. And that's a magnifying glass. That's true! That's interesting. Keep in mind, though, for those who aren't aware, the magnifying glass in the top left, whenever we look at these blue, are real-life facts. And 428 means it's specific to the game. Oh, that sounds fun, Queen Cheese. I'm sorry. Now that Kano thought about it, it all made sense. Excuse me. Since Alfard is an arms dealer with worldwide connections, I don't know what nation might be trying to obtain the antiviral. Obviously, any country that has the viral weapon would want to prevent their enemies from obtaining it. It's no huge surprise that people are butting in to try to put a stop to Alfard's plan. Why is there a beep? A tiny beeping sound caught Kano's attention. Kenan pulled a PDA from her breast pocket. A personal digital assistant refers to various types of small portable devices for information management, occasionally also referred to as a handheld PC. Interesting, the GPS I gave to Maria has just been powered on. Now I can find her location. Where is she? She's on the move. But why is the GPS suddenly active now? Cannon frowned. At any rate, I told you what I know. Now tell me where Hitomi is. All right. Kano got out his phone and called Stanley. True, Kitane. Came out in 2008, right? I think so. The American was quick to pick up. What's going on? Where's Hitomi? We're on our way to Endo Electronics in Dogenzaka. Endo Electronics? Why are you going there? Kano was familiar with the dilapidated old storefront. He had passed by the place countless times. Too long of a story. There's a lot that's happened, Stanley replied. How are things on your end? About as bad as they could be, but I'm getting closer to the truth. Please make sure you keep Hitomi safe. Alphard is after her blood. Her blood? Kano told Stanley what he'd heard from Cannon. I see. So that's what's going on. Once we're finished with things in Dogenzaka, I'll bring Hitomi right back to the precinct. Where is she? Cannon asked as soon as Kano had hung up. She's on her way to an electronics store in Dogenzaka. I see. Cannon checked Maria's location on her PDA. First, I need to get Maria, she said. I'll get to Hitomi after that. I'm going with you. Be my guest. With that, Cannon was off and running. Kano took one last glance at the unconscious Teteno, then hurried after Cannon as fast as he could. Man, we are booking it with Cannon! Cannon's our teammate now! They ran from South Hill and Nanpedai toward Shibuya Station. As they darted and weaved madly through the narrow side streets, Cannon took an occasional glimpse at her PDA. It felt to Kano like they must be taking the shortest possible route to Maria's location. He stayed quiet, keeping pace as Cannon led the way. Before he knew it, they were heading up Dogenzaka. In not too long, they'd be at Endo Electronics. Hey, Kano called out to Cannon. What? She shouted back without turning. Are you sure this is the right area? Are you doubting the GPS? No, it's not that. Actually, can I see that GPS unit? Kano peered over Kano's shoulder and saw that the GPS was indeed pointing in the direction they were headed. They weren't just running around at random, nor was the unit broken. Huh. Endo Electronics is right up ahead, he said. What? Cannon stopped abruptly. What are you suggesting? The twins are heading for the same location. Uh-oh, what's going on here? That's my guess. Still, what did that actually mean? Kano hadn't figured that out yet. Is everyone meeting up together? I did Convergence because I thought that would be an idea, but they're actually going to meet together. They're all going to meet up. Woohoo! I'm excited. They took off running again, and before long, Endo Electronics came into view. Cannon stopped in front of the shop door. Right here, she said, glancing at her GPS. I knew it, Kano thought. Endo Electronics, the same place Hitomi was headed. Guess we're all winding up together, Cannon said. Or else we've been brought together. She peered keenly at the building and its surroundings. Kano swallowed hard. We? You think you've been roped into this too? Quite possibly. Cannon flashed a winning smile, then started to head into the shop. Hold on, I need to report into HQ. Kano hurriedly called Kuze into his cell. Yeah, it's a bookending here. Kano, what's going on? I've located Maria Osawa. Huh? What's that? Kuze's words came out of surprise and childish yelp. Come on, Cannon smiled, turned to a steely glare. Time is critical. He nodded silently back at her. Kano, what's the location? Kuze asked. Where are you? I can't say right now, sir. Please just leave this to me. Hey, now just hold on! But Kano ignored the director squawking and hung up. Cannon had already entered the shop. She seemed wholly unconcerned by the idea that she might be playing right into Alfred's hands. Despite her youth, she clearly thought of herself as quite capable. Warily, he followed after her. After navigating a veritable cavern of junk, they came to a door that led to the living area beyond. Cannon quietly opened the door and immediately stepped inside. The home was divided into a dwelling area and a workroom. A man's voice could be overheard from the workroom, raised in anger. Don't you want to save Suzune? Don't you want to save Suzune? That's Daisuke's voice. I think that's what we made for him. Kano and Cannon crept closer. Peering through the next doorway, they saw a tense confrontation in progress. I was gonna say keep out. Nope. There's Achi, there's Maria, there's Hitomi, there's Stanley, and there's Daisuke. Maria and Stanley were standing there, looking down at a middle-aged man who had restrained Hitomi with a stun gun pressed to her throat. Dad, of course I want to help Suzune. A young man stepped into view, speaking to the older fellow. But do you think this is what she'd want you to do? Kano watched intently, tensing for action. There was so much at risk here. He was about to barge into the workroom when Cannon grabbed him by the shoulder. Let's wait and see how this goes first, she whispered. He realized this was good advice. I'm just letting you guys know, my voice is dying lately. It was gone this morning. It came back. It's probably dying again. But I'm doing this for you guys. I want to get through this. This is probably the finale of the game, so if they provoke the older man, things could very well take a sharp turn for the worse. They just have to hope the young man could talk him down. But keep out. Keep out. We gotta keep out. Excuse me. However, what's going on with Minorikawa? Everyone's here except for Minorikawa and Osawa. Is there anything that the Kawa could use? Possibly. Possibly. Alright, let's go to Achi's story now. Nintendo Electronics. Achi told Stanley and Toby when his father was done. As she listened, and Toby hung her head, her face was sallow. Hey, Happy, how's it going? I'm so sorry, Achi had told her. I'm not really sure what to say. He clenched his fist so hard the knuckles popped, struggling to keep his emotions in check. Done something with them so they end up there? Yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing. Excuse me. Man. I will also let you know, there is one bad ending in this entire route. And I know how to get it. So we'll be showing, I believe, the last bad ending in the game. So if I were rendered brain dead, you could help your sister. Brain dead, a state where brain function has ceased irreversibly. In Japan, there are two conditions for declaring brain death. The first is that the patient must be comatose and in a state of apnea, no longer breathing, due to the damage to the brain. The second is that the root cause is diagnosed and is deemed that no reasonable treatment will restore brain function. True, Katane, true. Stop, Achi said quickly. Please, don't say things like that. A sad look came to Hitomi's face, and she pressed her right hand to her heart. I mean, to find out like this. She turned to Achi, tears glistening in her eyes. I want to help your sister, but... We have other things to worry about right now. This time it was Stanley who cut her off. Remember, Alphard is after you, Hitomi. Isn't that what Cannon told you? Yes, she said I was the mastermind's target. Hitomi wiped her tears away with her fingertips. So Alphard and Achi's father are after the same things, Stanley said. Is that just a coincidence? It didn't sound like he thought so. Hold up, Achi growled, leaning in from the back seat. Yeah, my dad's way out of line, but he did what he did for Suzune. He wouldn't work with terrorists. Trying to retain my voice, man. Trying to retain my voice. I'm not saying he's deliberately aiding terrorists, Stanley replied coolly. It's just common sense that a pro wouldn't get an amateur involved with their plans. That makes it too likely that a clumsy misstep will cause things to fall apart. But then again, that's not the way Alphard thinks. So actually, the likelihood of failure could well be part of the plan. That's a good new voice for Stanley. Achi thought back to what Cannon had said earlier. Hey, Caitlin, how's it going? If you achieve your goals using accidental means, the outline becomes blurred, and it makes it harder for anyone outside looking in to grasp what the actual plan is. Good old Cannon. Cannon's cute, by the way. Not only have they put together a perfect plan, they purposely left certain tiny holes in it. So if we assume the plan has failed, the slip-up might be exactly what Alphard wants, Stanley muttered. Sort of an intentional hole then, Achi said. Stanley snorted. Cannon told you guys that too, huh? If that's the case, then you really are a fool. What'd you just call me? Achi barked. If you know all along how formidable this opponent is, you should have given Hitomi over to the police custody right away. It's only a matter of dumb luck that neither of you are still alive right now. Look, luck or no not, me and Hitomi have managed to get by safely. That's all that matters. Very true. What exactly is the relationship between you two anyway? Are you guys dating? Yo, the ship! Let's go! Go! Let's go. Yes, but ship, Stanley. Exactly. Achi and Tomy exchanged glances. When Tomy hesitated uneasily, Achi decided he better speak up. No, it's not like that. We just happened to run into each other earlier today. Guess I'm not the kind of guy who can abandon someone in trouble. Can't abandon someone in trouble, huh? You sure you're not just trying to make yourself feel self-important? There are plenty of people out there that you can't see who are also in trouble, who are also suffering. If you only help the ones close at hand, then what's the point, really? It's putting a strain on my voice, but I got this. I got this for you guys. Whew. The world's a lot bigger than you can imagine, and there's a lot you're blind to. So what? If I see someone who's in trouble, I'm supposed to just ignore them? Nah, I can't do that. If I see someone who's collapsed from hunger, I'm not going to just walk on because there's people starving somewhere else in the world. I'd be all like, hey, let me treat you to some beef bowl or whatever. You couldn't have come up with a smarter example, Stanley replied with a tiny laugh. Okay, so I'm an idiot, Achi scowled. My bad. Stanley laughed again. Today's been an interesting day, he said. I was with another fellow earlier who was just like you. Meaning what? Was he an idiot too? Yeah, he was an idiot. Do all you Japanese have that problem? What? Don't call Kano an idiot. Kano's a great guy. Also, what up, Cheeseoid? How's it going? Hardly. Hardly. My little sister's so smart she make your eyes pop out. Well, I'm sure relieved to hear that. If everyone in this country was as dumb as you guys, I might actually start to like this place. Huh? What does that even mean? Talk so I can understand, man, Achi shot back. But Stanley didn't respond. Instead, he stuck his head out of the car window, peering at the road ahead. Nice. They were close to Shibuya Station now, and the traffic had ground to a halt. Gridlock again, Stanley grumbled. It's probably better to walk the rest of the way to Endo Electronics. He pulled over to the side of the road, specifically a shoulder that runs along either side of the travel portion of the roadway, a place where trash tossed out the windows of moving cars tends to accumulate. Tossing cigarette butts and empty cans out onto the street can potentially hurt people and definitely makes a mess. Please don't litter. Makes sense for Achi's story. Achi got out of the car, feeling his guts not up and whirly. Pretty soon he was going to have to confront his father. Stanley gave Achi a look. Are you scared about meeting your father? I'm not scared. First things first, I'm gonna punch him right in the face. Then we can have ourselves a chat. Don't let your emotions get out of control. Your father might be one of the key players in this case. I don't give a damn about that. Achi took Tomy by the hands and started walking. I like how Tomy's just kind of on the side of this. Excuse me. They'd gone up and down Dokuzaka so many times today already, but this was probably the last time he and Tomy would make their way up the hill together. His anger rising, Achi picked up speed as he marched onward. Wanting to confront his father as soon as possible, Achi walked at an easy pace, wanting to delay the end of their time together just a little longer. I'll do it for you guys, Queen Cheese and everybody. Achi walked at an easy pace, wanting to delay the end of their time together just a little longer. Once they reached his home, this kidnapping case would be all over, because his own father, Daisuke, would be arrested as the culprit. Kidnapping for ransom carries a potential life sentence with a definite term of imprisonment of no less than 3 years. Dang, we're arresting Achi's father? Sweet. Yeah, the ending. This is supposedly the last hour, Katone. This is the last hour of the game. They said it's going to take place from 10 to 8. 8 hours. Bringing Daisuke down would be easy. Achi wasn't worried about that part at all. If he didn't hold back, there was a good chance he'd wind up hurting his father. Holding back. Getting hurt. Is that Suzune? No. Is that young Achi? That's young Achi. A memory from long ago rose in Achi's mind. A pure white karate-gi, thrusting out with his left fist. Daisuke collapsing to the floor. One of the many memories of his father that Achi could not forget. Did he beat up his father in the past for karate? Nice. Kneeling before the memorial altar of his mother, Katone, Achi wept uncontrollably. He clutches Hojajiki tightly in his hands. A toy made of small coin-shaped glass beads, somewhat similar to marbles. The typical game involves flicking one's pieces into the opponents with a fingertip. Specific rules vary greatly by region. Yeah, we finally get to see how he felt about losing his mother, and he definitely was sad. Achi had always been rather clingy with his mother. Alright. When she was alive, she had often joined him for ohajiki, origami, and the like. On this particular day, Achi had come home miserable after getting bullied by the neighborhood kids for acting like a wimp. Achi getting beaten up? What? What? Achi. Achi! He turned to see his father, holding 2 cups of shaved ice. Come here for a bit. They sat on the stairs together, eating their sweet frozen confections. You want to get tough? You want to get tougher? Daisuke's words were soft and simple. How about you and me get tougher together? Achi looked up at his father, frowning in confusion. How are we gonna do that? Well, for starters, how about we learn some karate? Karate? Achi's face twisted up unhappily at the idea. He couldn't even imagine himself punching or kicking anyone. It'll be alright, his dad said. I'll go with you. Don't worry. Daisuke flexed one of his scrawny arms. His biceps bulged up the tiniest bit. Achi was well aware that his father wasn't much of an athlete. Possibly. There had been an athletics meet at his grade school. Even now, the memory of Daisuke tripping clumsily during the parent participation relay was burned into Achi's mind. Excuse me. A type of children's event where the parents who have come to watch their children compete are asked to join in with them. Daisuke took part in the tug-of-war, only to get tangled up in the boat and dragged over the line. Oh, that's great. Achi was understandably disheartened by his father's embarrassing display, but after eating the lunch his father had made for him, his spirits quickly returned. Daisuke had made rice balls that were clumsily oversalted, but Achi could tell how hard he'd worked to prepare them. Daisuke really cares about his kids. Daisuke really cares about his kids. Above all else. I mean, if you're gonna be there. And so the two began training together at the local karate dojo. Achi put on his white gi and fastened his obi tightly. As he did so, he felt as if his feelings were being anchored in place as well. Ichi, ni, san! Achi's gi sleeves made a whooshing sound as he thrust out his fists in time with the sensei's chant. Even simple kata practice made him feel like he was getting stronger somehow. His dad, having left Suzune in the care of the neighbors, was working up a sweat alongside him. But he was out of shape and his technique was shaky. He was soon exhausted and went to lean up against the dojo wall. Achi stepped out of the training circle and called out to his father. Dad, are you okay? Yeah, I'm just gonna take a little break. Daisuke sounded like he was on the edge of hyperventilating. Thanks, Dad. Huh? What for? For asking me to come take karate lessons with you. Oh. Achi was sure he'd never have dared to go to the dojo alone. Hey, just so as long as you're liking it. Now go on, get back to training. With a deep bow, Achi resumed his kata practice. As they were walking home from the dojo, Achi turned to his father. How come you want to get stronger, Dad? He asked. I mean, you're not getting bullied by your friends. Daisuke was quiet for a few moments before answering. His words came out awkward and embarrassed. I was picked on a lot when I was your age too, Achi. I had a friend who would always come and bail me out. To Tenno. A friend? Achi has no friends. Yeah, a friend. A distant look came to his father's eyes. He was a real fighter. I always looked up to him. I wanted to be strong like him. His expression turned lonely. I don't get to see him anymore, though. Why not? Achi asked. Did he die? No, nothing like that. Then did you guys have a fight? Something like that. Daisuke smiled sadly. Aww. He stared out into the sky for a while before speaking up again. His name's Tenno. Him? My friend. That's his name. Achi's father increased his pace. Come on, he said. We have to go and pick up Suzune. After that, despite Achi's questions, Daisuke would say no more about his old friend. I'm so sad, because Achi also does not have any friends. Hitomi is his first friend, actually, besides the SOS kids. By the time he was almost done with grade school, Achi had grown up fit and strong, almost unrecognizable from his younger self. Perhaps he had the physical knack in him all along. He was chosen as the representative for the boys' karate team, even managing to take second place in a national tournament. True, Queen Cheese, true. Nobody bullied Achi anymore. One time, Daisuke suggested the two of them do some sparring. Achi may have been a national competitor, sure, but he was still a grade schooler squaring off against an adult. His father had been training for close to 2 years now as well, and his confidence had grown accordingly. Achi was excited to be able to face off against his old man. White belt against black belt. Who's gonna win, guys? Who is gonna... Oh no! Early on in their karate training, Achi's kumite had seemed rather hopeless. Kumite. He'd been shocked that his out-of-shape father was also able to overpower him, but also pleased to get a sense of how strong the man was. This time, Achi thought he might well lose again, but he was going to go all out. As they adopted their fighting stances, Daisuke's face was full of confidence. The instructor gave the signal to begin, and Achi opened with a sharp low kick. Daisuke didn't guard against it. The blow caught him in the thigh. It looked to Achi like he'd allowed himself to take the hit, not fearing the effect of a child's kick. Achi proceeded to unleash several more low kicks to the same spot. But by bit, Daisuke's face revealed his discomfort. Finally, he yanked his leg away. That's when Achi realized. His father wasn't letting himself get hit on purpose. He was just unable to keep up with the speed of his son's footwork. Hey Vibrant, how's it going? If that was the case, Achi felt bad about exploiting his dad's weakness. He decided to leave his leg alone. Instead, he aimed a punch at his father's midsection. Uh-oh. He was shocked by the impact as the blow struck home. He hadn't attacked with a great deal of force. He just threw a light midsection punch as a check. Oh, he's out of shape. He's super out of shape. But as Achi pulled back his fist, Daisuke crumpled to the floor, writhing in pain as he clutched his gut. Achi stared in disbelief at his own hand. That was the last day that Daisuke went to the dojo. Damn. Daisuke's weak as fuck. Your dad's pathetic!
Yeah, he's such a loser!
Achi was on his way home from practice, and some older students from the dojo had started ribbing on him. What did he just say? These kids were middle schoolers, but Achi wasn't about to back down. He thrust out with a quick punch, stopping it just short of one boy's nose. Go on, say that again! I'll kick your ass! Little kid Achi cursing too! Let's go! The older boys went pale, then took off and ran. The small victory did nothing to bolster Achi's spirits. His father had looked so small and lonely, heading away after quitting karate. But Achi didn't think there was anything pathetic about that. Sure, maybe by now he was better at karate than his father. But really, what difference did that make? In growing stronger, he'd learned something. Using force to win out over someone else didn't mean anything. Strength alone didn't determine a person's worth. Achi loved and respected his father for going to the dojo with him. Beating him in a karate match didn't change the way he felt. Man, this game isn't mean the feels! Achi resurfaced from his memories to hear Stanley talking on his phone. I see, so that's what's going on. Once we're finished with things in Dogenzaka, I'll bring Itomi right back to the precinct. Curious, Achi turned to the American. Who are you just talking to about? What was that bad about just now? By bringing Itomi in, do you mean you're gonna arrest her? What was that about just now? Sorry, let's try that again. What was that just about now? Stanley's reply was clipped. I know what they're after now. With that, Stanley proceeded to wrap up his phone call. No worries, Happy Squid. Take it easy. With that, Stanley proceeded to wrap up his phone call. Guess I'm not going to get much out of this guy, Achi thought. Here we are. By now they can see Endo Electronics up ahead. Achi was about to hurry inside when Stanley stopped him. I'll go in first. You two wait out here. No, wait, this is my dad we're talking about. And you don't think he's dangerous to bring a Itomi right to him? Well, alright. We'll wait here for a bit, and once we know it's safe, we'll head on in. You cool with that? I'm cool with that. Stanley stepped inside. Achi fussed about impatiently, staring at the entryway. The palm of his clenched fist was sweating. Never before in his life had he wanted to just deck his old man. Hitomi watched him uneasily. Hitomi. Yes? I'm sorry. I really don't want you to have to see this, but I think you're about to witness the crowning shame in Endo family history. Achi, don't say that, Hitomi said. She squeezed his hand. He found his other fist unclenching. Please, you have to try to talk to your father. Yeah, I know. Suddenly, there was a loud crash from inside the building. The time for waiting had passed. Let's go! Achi and Hitomi raced inside. Barging into the living quarters without bothering to shed his shoes, he heard his father's voice coming from the workroom. Dad! Achi hurried through the workroom door and saw Stanley holding his father pinned across the desk. Let me go! Please, let me go! Daisuke thrashed both of his legs. Stanley, please! Let my father go! I want to talk to him! Stanley snorted dismissively, but did as he was asked. Daisuke stood up, rubbing his sore wrist. Dad, please, you have to tell me! Where is Maria? Maria? What are you talking about? Daisuke wouldn't meet his eyes. Don't play dumb with me, Achi pointed at Hitomi. You know who this is, don't you? Hitomi Osawa, the girl you've been after. Maria's her sister. But Daisuke remained silent. You gotta pretend you didn't call the hospital? Nothing about maybe being able to get your hands on a heart? I mean, seriously? It's all so simple. Even I can tell what's been going on. You've been watching me and Hitomi through the surveillance cameras. You were telling the guy with the cane where we were. The blood began to drain from his father's face. Don't you go quiet on me. If I'm wrong, then go ahead. Tell me the truth. Daisuke's arm shot out suddenly, knocking an external hard drive from his desk onto the floor. It was over and done before Stanley could stop him. Stanley hunched down and picked up the shattered drive. I'm guessing there was important data on here. Footage from the cameras, maybe? I have no idea what you're talking about, Daisuke spat. You can't do this to an innocent person, Dad, Achi shouted, grabbing his father by the collar. There was a sound of footsteps from out in the shop. Someone was quickly getting closer. Stanley grabbed Hitomi by the hand and pulled her back against the wall. Achi stiffed as he turned his gaze to the door. In comes Maria. In comes Maria. Alright, so do we do a jump immediately or do we the other stories? What do you guys want? I'm relying on you guys right now. Do we do the jump now? Or do we focus on another story? Welcome back, buddy. Minorikawa? Want to see Minorikawa drawing up? True! Same! So let's go Minorikawa then. Lies. So now in Minorikawa's story, you found out Toyama's still alive. The TV news contained a report on how Mamoru Tanaka had been killed in a minivan explosion. What does this mean? What does this mean? Chiaki blinked in confusion. I mean, Hana told us herself that the van explosion was her father committing suicide, didn't she? The only explanation I can think of, Minorikawa replied, is that Hana was lying. He scratched his head as he considered the situation. But why? Chiaki said. Ozu let out a snort. Well, it would seem Mr. Toyama had her on line in order to deceive us. What an upstanding individual, using his own daughter to buy him some time. Minorikawa wanted to yell at the guy, but he managed to hold his tongue. The important thing was that Toyama was still alive. And if he was still alive, then there was still a way to save Heaven Publishing. Then get the current issue out on time, with a big scoop waiting in the wings of the issue after that. From there on out, it should be smooth sailing. Well, no matter, Ozu said. Seeing as Mr. Toyama isn't dead after all, we'll just wait here for him. He sat back down on the sofa. But Sagawa leaned threateningly toward Chiaki. Hey, he snarled. You sure you don't know where the guy's hiding out? I don't, Chiaki shot back, and even if I did, I'd never tell you. Say what now? He leaned in even closer just as he stood on her tiptoes in defiance, and their foreheads collided with a dull thud. Oh, headbutting! How adorable. Both reeled back, clutching their heads in their hands. Oh, they headbutted. Just calm down, Chiaki, Minorikawa said as he began rooting through Toyama's desk. For now, I'm going to look for clues to where Toyama might have gone. You just focus on working on your article. Oh, Ozu raised an eyebrow. Getting all cooperative all of a sudden, see? This guy's voice has changed a ton, sorry. I want to change up the plan for next month's issue. and I can't do that without Editor-in-Chief's approval. What Minorikawa was actually looking for, however, was a backup issue of 4-Star General Gossip. He was pretty sure the article on Osawa had been printed in the magazine's inaugural issue. If he could find that scandalous piece that the scientist had asked for, he'd also be able to get his big lead about the power balance of the world being at stake. And if he could get that, not only would next month's issue be a sure thing, it was a good bet the sales figures would go through the roof. He found a file folder full of yearly material and quickly flipped through it. It didn't take him long to find the article. Why are you guys doing the sad faces? Stop at the sad faces, damn it! No need to it. Flattering Okoshi Pharmaceutical arranges marriage and political convenience. The large headline practically jumped off the page. Minorikawa quickly read over the story. The basic gist of it was this. The corporate directory of Okoshi Pharmaceutical has sacrificed his daughter in order to keep a researcher named Kenji Osawa on board. There's no reason to be sad, so stop it. The daughter, however, had previously been dating another man. That must be what Osawa wanted him to look into, the guy his wife had been dating before they were married. I was dating Tanaka! Well, we kinda already knew this, but I was dating Tanaka. It should be easy enough to just ask whoever had written the article. Minorikawa's gaze jumped to the end of the piece, looking for the writing credit. Hey Mitsu, welcome to the stream. The piece had been written by Toyama himself.
Hey, ain't you done yet?
Sagawa yelled.
Tell us where Toyama is already.
Yeah, Minorikawa thought, we're going to need to do something about these guys.
I'm still looking into it, he said. Just hold on.
He made a show of opening and closing various desk drawers. The drawers themselves are packed with a jumbled mess of electrical and gas bills, noodle house delivery menus, and the like.
Look faster,
Sagawa growled. For now, Minorikawa decided he better butter this guy up. Maybe he could mollify this guy by having some noodles delivered for dinner. You're important. Is this what I think it is? Ow! My foot, by the way. I think this is the option. For those who weren't aware from the past few streams, Minorikawa is the one with the last one. We'll use noodles. True. True, Kitone. This is not the choice yet, by the way. Maybe you can mollify this guy by having some noodles delivered for dinner.
Hey, you guys hungry? I was thinking of ordering some soba. Man, this ain't no time for some that,
Sagawa snarled.
Besides, we just had some soba anyhow. And it was awful. Don't talk to me about noodles.
Sagawa lurched into a shadowboxing session as if trying to punch out the provider of his disappointing soba. The guy clearly had zero capacity for sitting still. Minorikawa found the back issue of the gossip he was looking for. He still needed Chiaki's article, though, and she wasn't quite finished yet. He had to buy some more time.
By the way, he said to Sagawa, are you familiar with SOS? SOS?
The thug paused mid-jab.
Yeah, SOS. I was planning on interviewing them later today. Hear they're some pretty tough guys. Only one of them who's been able to give me a fight would probably be that Achiendo. Except as I hear it, he left the gang. Ah, really now? Heard anything else interesting?
Oops.
Sounds like nowadays they're being run by a guy named Suzumu.
The name Susumu,
Sounds like nowadays they're being run by some guy named Susumu.
The name Susumu rang a bell. Those two young punks who had been arguing after the van explosion had mentioned him.
Seems like SOS is in a pretty rough state since Achi left, though, Sagawa added.
Minorikawa didn't miss a beat.
What do you mean, rough state? Back in the day, they were all goody two-shoes, never shake folk down or steal or any of that stuff. Guess the founder actually hated that sort of thing.
You have Grapes? Yo, Grapes is dope!
But now they just out of a lot of rough and tumble, hot-blooded types have been signed up with them. Smart move is not to really get involved with SOS nowadays, really. Hard to find a scary bunch around here, but there's a lot of them together. Mm-hmm. And their main hangout, that's an inferno, yeah? Yeah, over in Harajuku. Known as Uraharu for short, the area east of Japan Rail Harajuku Station, around where Takeshita Dori meets Mejidori. There are many small clothing and accessory stores here, set up in renovated houses. Most of these shops are on the cutting edge of youth fashion, offering quirky and unique means of personal expression. Yeah, friends, Happy. You have friends. Man, you've been listening out on the street? What gives? Harajuku, huh?
Minorikawa smiled to himself. Inferno's location had practically fallen into his lap. Suddenly, Sagawa's eyes went wide.
Aha! So that's where Tom is! Wait. Nah, no way a coward like him would go to that place like that.
Oh, she has a bandage on her head. Chiaki's like, oh, luckily I found a bandage. Bandage, super quick. I had grapes for lunch today, too. Chiaki looked up from her keyboard. Look, can you please shut up?
No, you shut up! That's my phone.
Murakawa pulled his cell out of his pocket. Oh, it's Toyama. It's Toyama. It was Toyama's name on the incoming call screen. Murakawa's heart skipped a beat.
Toyama, where are you?
He blurted out as soon as he picked up. Chiaki, Ozu, and Sagawa turned to look at him at once.
Well, what are you thinking? Faking your death like that?
Even if we could fill those pages and postpone repayment, all it would do is delay the inevitable. I'd still be up to my ears in debt. So I thought if I made it look like I was dead.
Murakawa let out an exasperated sigh.
Well, everyone already knows you're still alive, so your little attempt at subterfuge didn't even wind up buying you time.
What?
Chama's hysterical squeak was painful to hear.
Alright, listen up, Murakawa said. If it's the debt you're worried about, you'll be able to pay that back real soon.
What do you mean?
I've landed a huge scoop. You can do a print run of 1 million copies and still sell out, if we could run it as an article.
Chama perked right up.
Wait, you really mean it?
I'll give you all the details, just get your butt back here.
But aren't those loan sharks there at the office right now?
Fine, then I'll come to you. Tell me where you are.
The two thugs crowded nearer, a predatory gleam in their eyes, and Murakawa had a flash of inspiration.
Got it, he said quickly before Toyama could respond. Miyashita Park. I'm on my way there now. Don't go anywhere.
Ozu and Sagawa grinned at one another and then bolted out the door. They didn't even wait.
Heh,
Murakawa said as their footsteps receded.
those guys took the bait. I sent them to Miyashita Park.
He allowed himself a cocksure grin. Let's go, Murakawa, let's go!
Right then. So where are you really, Toyama?
You imbecile, I am at Miyashita Park!
What's up, Supernova? Toyama can't catch a break, can he? Toyama really cannot catch a break. Dude's screwed.
What?
Murakawa fought the urge to pull his hair out.
What the hell are you doing someplace like that?
Why the hell did you tell them Miyashita Park?
Oh, that'd be a clever ruse.
Well, it wasn't.
This is no time to be fighting, Chiaki butted in.
Yeah, you're right.
Murakawa scowled.
Anyway, Toyama, those guys are headed your way. We need to get out of there and go someplace we can talk.
Yeah, it's all good, Vibrant. I know. He probably kicked a leprechaun or something at this point. He burned a bunch of four-leaf clovers.
I can meet you there.
Right, okay.
They need someplace safe and public where they can speak freely. Someplace where the staff wouldn't be overly nosy. But where, Murakawa thought? The familiar cafe by the station with the natural choice. Recalling the noodle house from the menu we'd seen earlier, he opted for that. Nothing suitable came to mind. Probably Toyama should decide. Okay, this is the choice. I need to choose this one. Recalling the noodle house from the menu we'd seen earlier, he opted for that.
Dogen Hut.
Dogen Hut, huh?
Toyama rumbled the words under his breath.
What's the matter? Is there some problem with that?
Oh, no. Alright, I'll meet you there. It's over at Dogenzaka. The address is on the menu.
He hung up and Murakawa quickly gathered his belongings.
Jackie, how's that copy coming along?
Well, almost done? Just a little more, I think.
Alright, bring your computer and come with me. I'll read over what you got so far.
Murakawa waited as Jackie got ready to head to the cafe. As the two were heading out of the office, however, someone else opened the door. Who opened the door?
You've got 14 minutes and 57 seconds left to send to the press.
The writer submits to the editor submits to the designer. This is the next step in that whole handoff process. Naturally, being late for this causes quite a lot of trouble. Who is this? Who could this be? Osawa?
56, 55.
What? Who is this guy? Who is this suave-looking guy? I like how he looks. A slender man with a gaudy necktie entered the room and sat down on the nearest desk, staring fixedly at his pocket watch. Murakawa narrowed his eyes dubiously.
Who the hell are you?
Always make sure to show up 15 minutes ahead of the appointed time. That's just common decency. The man gave no indication he had ever heard Murakawa's question. I suppose I could wait here, he continued. Just for another 14 minutes and 20 seconds. Mr. Mino, is this guy talking about our submission? Chucky stared doubtfully at the newcomer.
Hey, you, Minurikawa asked. Are you from the printer?
But the man did not reply.
Don't ignore me! Are you from the printer?
Still, the man remained silent.
Minurikawa was furious. Look, cut the crap, he roared.
In response, the man quietly reached into his suit pocket and pulled out his business card. My name is not Hey You. He handed the card to Norikawa. It read, Show Nippon Printing Co., Ltd., Sales Department Division No. 1, Koichiro Katayama. I'm Koichiro Katayama, newly assigned to Heaven Publishing. A pleasure to meet you. My predecessor is in the hospital due to a car accident. Satoru Usui, 39 years old, single, a longtime veteran of Shonen Nippon Printing, rather timid by nature. The strain of dealing with publishers makes him sick to his stomach. At around 1:10 earlier today, while driving to meet with one of his clients, he had to swerve to avoid a young man and woman who darted into the street. He crashed in the car next to him and ended up at the hospital. Yo! Yo! That car crash from way earlier in the story. We got a new editor. You should make a complete recovery in about 2 months. We actually got a new editor, though.
Well, what are you doing here, Katayama? Minurikawa asked. I thought we had until 8 o'clock to complete proofreading.
8 o'clock? Surely must be joking. Our company proofing deadline is 5:30. Katayama stared fixedly back at Minurikawa. No, that had
to be a joke. I heard from the editor-in-chief that it was 8 o'clock.
I take that to mean, then, that you don't have any copy for us.
It's not that we don't have it, Minurikawa said. It's just not finished yet. Just hold on until 8.
Katayama raised an eyebrow. No. Publisher and printer need to work in concert. Perhaps my predecessor was the sort to delay the proofing deadline, owing to your circumstances here. But now I'm in charge, and I do not make exceptions. The proofing deadline is 5:30, sharp, and I intend to keep it that way. And while we've been having this discussion, you're down to 12 minutes and 32 seconds. Katayama held out his pocket watch as if to emphasize the point.
That's ridiculous, Minurikawa exclaimed. Just who the hell do you think you are? You guys are going to be printing a paper that I wrote. Do you even know how lucky that makes you? So just wait, okay? Just give until 8 o'clock. Just give us 3 more days. Just give us until we're done. Just give us till 8 o'clock. Just give us till 8 o'clock.
That was the original understanding. It was unfair to change it now. 8 o'clock, And where's your guarantee that you'll finish by then?
We will. Just trust me.
I suppose to heedlessly trust the word of a man I've just met? Katayama mused. We're down to 10 minutes and 46 seconds, by the way.
You son of a bitch. Don't get all high and mighty just because you work for a printer.
High and mighty? I'd say it's the people of the publishing side of the things that aren't all high and mighty. Whatever high-minded claims you might make without us, you have nothing to put on the store shelves. Forgetting that and blithely ignoring your proofing deadline makes for more work on our end. Just what are you getting at, I wonder? Now it's 10 minutes and 20 seconds. Murakawa grinded his teeth so hard he could hear it. His usual tactics were useless here. Katayama was simply too unflappable to be browbeaten. If he backed down now, though, it was game over. 10 minutes and 7 seconds remaining. I realize there's little point, but I'll wait until the designated time. That's just common decency. Katayama's pet phrase. Thus far, he has said, that's just common decency 3 times in this story. Always make sure to show up 15 minutes ahead of the appointed time. I realize there's little point, but I'll wait until the designated time. There's one more. Do you know when and where it was? Nope. Let's see. No reason to be sad, buddy. Be happy. I kind of want to see where it is. Just common decency. Interesting. Possibly. Katayama's eyes were once again locked on his pocket watch. There was no use. Murakawa couldn't find a way to talk this guy around. Chiaki held up her hand. May I say something? Isn't it also common decency not to break a promise once it's been... Isn't it also common decency not to break a promise once it's been made? If you're referring to the 8 o'clock deadline, I was not the one who promised that. Maybe not, but I believe your predecessor's responsibilities become your responsibilities. Katayama crossed his arms and gave her a bemused look. What's your name, miss? Chiaki, she said bashfully. Chiaki Iso. The printer's expression brightened visibly. Good. That timid hesitation of yours is just splendid. You have none of the arrogance so typical among publishers. Huh? Jackie was taken rather aback. Jackie's niceness saves the day! In deference to your polite demeanor, I shall wait until 7 o'clock. That is the latest I could possibly allow.
Alright, Minorikawa shouted, practically in Katayama's face. We agreed to those terms.
No, I wasn't talking to you.
We've got terms of our own.
Katayama reeled ever so slightly. I'm not certain you're in any position to set terms here.
Just shut up and listen. From here on out, you're coming with us.
What? Why?
We're going to finish up our copy on site, then burn the data onto CD and hand it over to you there. That's why.
Katayama let out a sigh of resignation. Oh, very well. I suppose I'd simply be waiting here anyway. Minorikawa pumped his fist in victory.
Alright, Chiaki, go and copy the DTB data we've got so far onto your computer.
Sure thing, Mr. Mino. Jackie quickly set about copying the data from the editing department's desktop.
Okay, done.
Now let's go. With the others in tow, Minorikawa headed for the noodle house where Toyama would be waiting. Oh, we're gonna get noodles spilled on our computer, aren't we? We're totally getting our noodles spilled. The soba restaurant Dogen Hut is roughly halfway up Dogenzaka. A long-standing noodle shop in Dogenzaka, 2 years ago, the owner passed away from illness. Now the restaurant is run by his widow, Maki Yonida, and her 2 part-timers, Masa from Miyadori Academy and Mohinder, an Indian exchange student. Despite the sign billing the establishment as a soba restaurant, duck meat soba and chilled curry soba are the only 2 actual soba offerings, and the rest of the menu, for some reason, is all udon dishes. And in fact, both kind of soba are terrible, though maybe the chilled curry soba would be okay if someone else weren't making it. Inside, they encountered the proprietress near the door. She held a massive cleaver for cutting soba noodles clutched in one hand. Toyama wasn't there.
Excuse me, Minorikawa said. Has a middle-aged man come by your shop?
Name's Toyama. The proprietress let out a weary sigh. I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm so scared. That guy, huh? You folks know him?
Yes, that's right.
Then I'm sorry. I didn't want to have to do this. It was all his fault, though. You reap what you sow. Minorikawa didn't know what she was going on about, but suddenly had a very bad feeling.
So then Toyama was here? He asked cautiously.
Yes, he came by.
Well, where is he now? Please tell me.
No, I have no obligation to tell anything to friends of Toyama's. Evidently, there's some bad blood between Toyama and this woman. The real victim here is me. Her voice rose abruptly to a roar. Now listen up good to this old woman's story. I don't have time for this, Minorikawa thought. He needed to find Toyama as soon as possible, but instead, it looked like he'd stuck hearing out the segment woman first. Hi, Betty, how's it going?
All right, we're listening. Tell us your story.
It's a long one. The woman's mouth twisted up and she licked her lips, leading in to tell her tale. Long, long ago, when I was still in my 20s, I would often make deliveries to Heaven Publishing. They were some of my best customers. Back then, we were so busy my employees practically worked themselves to death. You see, Dogen Hut had the finest soba in Japan, and our spokesmodel was considered one of the most beautiful girls in the world. Back when this woman was in her 20s, Heaven Publishing hadn't even existed yet. Same, Kitone, same. But Minorikawa, well, we actually met her. This is, she talked to Achi and Hitomi, Kitone. She talked to Achi and Hitomi, remember that. But Minorikawa figured he better not correct her. That would probably just piss her off and make her stop entirely. He kept his mouth shut and listened to her silly tale. But anyway, that's all in the past now. As time went on, we had a lot of delivery customers asking us to put their bills on the tab. So much so that became a problem, and we changed our policy to disallow that sort of thing. But the fine folks of Heaven Publishing consider themselves an exception to that rule. And that put my part-timer Masa, who does the deliveries, in a bit of a bind.
Okay.
Oh, Masa's a student at Midoriyama Academy, a first-year student at Midoriyama Academy. After getting indigestion from eating too much parfait at a fast food restaurant on Center Guy, he was there with his girlfriend to do a dry run for a competitive eating contest. Oh, that guy! I remember him. He wound up going to the restroom 14 times in 1 hour. Damn. Unable to stand idly by, his girlfriend called an acquaintance of hers, the gluttonous Chiriko Usugi, for advice on improving Masa's intestinal fortitude. It turned out, however, that Chiriko was planning to compete in the same contest. Knowing that they were up against some monumental competition, the two continued their training, wary of the battle to come. Dang.
He took the day off to go on a date with his girlfriend. I hear they're planning to commit as a couple in some ice cream eating contest that's going to air on TV. So they're going to practice run together today. Honestly, how ridiculous is that? Honestly, I couldn't care less about Masa one way or the other, Midorikawa thought. This whole experience was turning into a real ordeal. So yes, we were in a real bind. I run a restaurant here, not a charity operation. I'd call and ask them to settle up, but they'd always insist, oh, we don't have any money. That's a lie. It's gotta be a lie. What else could it be? Otherwise, how could they have kept making that magazine of theirs? That Celebrity Confidential or whatever the hell it's called. Celebrity Confidential was a weekly tabloid put out by one of Heavily Publishing's competitors. Midorikawa was just going to have to let that egregious mix-up slide. And that's not all, the proprietress spat. Oh no, on top of that, the magazine's little gourmet gabs corner, or whatever they called it, ran a scathing review on us. After that, customers started keeping their distance, and I aged 20 years practically overnight. Gourmet Gabs was a column that ran in Celebrity Confidential. She has the wrong magazine. We're dead. There's nothing of the sort in 4-star general gossip. This woman had clearly gotten the two magazines mixed up somehow. Awful. Just awful, isn't it? All I wanted to do was make soba for people to enjoy. And to be treated like this. To be treated like this. The woman started to sob. The cleaver began to waver in her trembling hand. But then, later today, those two Yakuza-looking fellows came by. Said they were looking for Toyama for having publishing. Guess they saw one of our menus at the office and figured he might have come by. She had to be talking about Ozu and Sagawa. They'd both been nearby when Norikawa was running through the desk drawers. They must have spotted the menu there. I told him he wasn't here and hadn't ordered delivery in some time. So they said that if I happened to see him, to give them a call. And I was going to just turn them away. They looked like a pair of nasty loan sharks. Toyama would never be able to pay off his tab if they caught him. And so I told them as much. The proprietress lowered her voice before continuing. But they said they'd be most appreciative if I could let them know. Even offered to pay his tab for me if I did. And well, that pretty much settled it. So I let them give me their phone number. Norikawa's face went pale. This lady had been bribed by those two thugs? And so I guess you figured it out. A little earlier, Toyama dropped by, looking like he was trying to lie low. So it all came together. I snuck up back and gave those two a call, and so here we are. You guys are just a hair too late. Oh crap. Toyama's got screwed. Toyama had been carted off by the moneylenders. Midorikawa had to find him right away. Mr. Beano, Chiaka squeaked nervously. We have to hurry to go look for him. Yeah. Midorikawa and the others headed for the door. Wait. The voice sounded as if it had echoed up from the very depths of hell. Midorikawa and the company stopped in their tracks. Uh-oh. Oh my god!
You think I could just let you go?
The old woman began to stalk towards them. Lady, your eyeballs are on fire! I'm pretty sure water can stop that. Or God. Hail Jesus? Hail Satan? What gets you to stop killing us? Please? I'll sell my soul. 20 bucks. 20 bucks for my soul.
Those guys, they left without showing their appreciation or paying off the tab. They lied to me. And so just who's going to show me the appreciation I'm owed? Who's going to pay that tab? You're all this together trying to play me for a fool. I'm dying, but I'll have no fury like a woman scorned.
Uh-oh. The proprietress lifted her cleaver high. Her eyes smoldered with inhuman rage, and murderous arrows surrounded her like a bonfire wind. Wait, Midorikawa cried. We're Toyama's!
His friends. Then prepare yourself. You'll repay his debt to me with your lives.
The three companions stood paralyzed with horror, watching their bloody doom approach. The blade glimmered in the dimness as she swung it toward Midorikawa.
Time for some fresh meat.
Shit, she killed us. Holy fuck. Woo! Midorikawa, Chiaki, and Katayama screamed, their cries echoing clear across Nogenzaka. I can't believe it just did that. My throat is killing me. Bad end. That's the last bad end, I think. Tragedy at the Noodle House. It was no ordinary grudge that the proprietress of Dogen Hut held toward Toyama, as Midorikawa and the others found out firsthand, falling victim to this mighty cleaver. Yeah, this is the right place to have the meet up with Toyama. Seriously, who the heck decided this was a good idea? And there is the achievement called Bad Time 1700 Block. Oh shit! I thought Midorikawa just straight up died. All right, so let's not choose that. People being slaughtered, yeah. I mean, Midorikawa's just kind of screwed. Let's familiar cafe came by natural choice. True. Excuse me. Ooh. The familiar cafe by the station was a natural choice. He quickly described the location. Okay, Toyama said. Cafe Lautrec. Got it. I'll see you there. He hung up and Midorikawa quickly gathered his belongings. Shaki, how's that copy coming along? Alright, So we've seen this. I'm well, almost done. Just a little more, I think. Alright, bring your computer and come with me. I'll be over. Okay, let's see. To the cafe is 2 headed out to the office, however. Someone else opened the door. Do I have to really just go through all of this? For the most part. Okay. For the most part. Whew. I'm just kind of skipping ahead. Chucky held up her hand. I'm just going to keep skipping through until we get to a good part. To a part. Me's luck. What's your name? Chiaki. Chiaki-so. Good. That timid hypnotization of yours is just splendid. You have none of the arrogance so typical among publishers. Good old Chiaki. Look at her key in her ear. It's great. I like how he's now intimidating Katayama though too. Yeah, true, but it's all good, Kitone. It's all good. We get to see hilarious faces. Look at Midorikawa's face. His face is beautiful. It's a beautiful face. Alright, Chiaki, go copy the DP. Sure, Mr. Mino. There we go. Let's go. With the others in tow, Midorikawa headed from the cafe where Toyama would be waiting. Yeah, Chiaki, sorry. Alright, there we go. They reached Cafe Lautrec without incident. Midorikawa promptly spied the publisher. Over here, Toyama hissed, eyeing his surroundings with obvious unease. Hana sat by his side, sullenly sipping on some juice. The waitress came over as Midorikawa joined them. May I take your order? She asked. Water. Just water, sir. Wow. She's gonna be so pissed because it's Midorikawa. This waitress hates Midorikawa.
Fine, make it double.
Exasperated, the waitress headed back to the kitchen. Of course. Toyama looked over at Katayama. Who's this guy? I'm Koichiro Katayama from Cho Nippon Printing. Katayama presented his business card. Hey, set, Kitone. Toyama turned to Midorikawa with a quizzical look. What's someone from the printer doing with you?
I'll explain later. There's no time for that right now, Midorikawa replied. First, I need you to answer some questions. Does the name Kenji Osawa ring any bells?
Osawa? Toyama closed his eyes and thought.
He heads up a laboratory in Okoshi Pharmaceutical. You ran a piece on him in the first ever issue of 4-Star General Gossip.
Toyama's face lit up with recognition. Oh yes, the political marriage piece.
Yeah, that one. Do you remember the details from that article?
Of course. Who do you think I am? Toyama puffed himself up proudly. I used to be the local news copy editor for the Central Times. I've got the details for all the stuff I've ever covered out here in my head.
In that case, do you know who Kenji Osawa's wife was dating before they got married?
Toyama blinked his eyes vacantly.
Hey, what's the matter?
Midorikawa asked. This is a pretty tough pop quiz you're giving me.
Surprise, kids! It's time for a science quiz!
Science quiz! Science quiz! Science quiz! Science quiz! Let's go!
What colorless, odorless gas, lighter than air, and used for consumer and municipal gas applications, also known as marsh gas or swamp gas? Helium, ethylene, propane, or methane? Tune in next time for the answer. What's it gonna be? What's your guess? Type it in chat. You guys all know the answer. I know you guys know. Do you guys know? It's always Spooktember? Well, figure it out. I'm gonna write down my answer on this note card right here. Methane. Nope, gotta give a real answer. You got helium, ethylene, propane, and methane.
think it's that. It could be another one. Could be another one. Possible. Excuse me. Anywho.
Get the crap, man.
Gonna try to sleep now? Bye, Cassie. Take it easy. Have a good night.
You said you have all the details inside your head.
Oh, they're in there all right. They're just not coming out. Norikawa slumped.
Mr. Toyama, please. Whether or not you'll be able to pay off your debts depends on your memory here.
Hearing this, Hana cast a cold glare up at her father.
All right, I can remember, or I can at least try.
Toyama folded his arms and hummed to himself, his gaze turned inward.
So, I feel like it was a really common name.
A really common name! Sato, Jackie chirped. Yamada! Was it either of those? They're pretty common names. But Toyama shook his head. Norikawa offered a guess of his own. Tanaka!
Tanaka!
No, not that. It was something else. It's not Tanaka? Just then, the television inside the cafe switched over to the news report on the Shibuya explosion. The remains of the individual discovered within the minivan itself, who has since been identified as pharmaceutical company executive Mamoru Tanaka. Mamoru Tanaka. Toyama turned around and looked at the TV. An image of the victim's face appeared on the screen.
What?
The publisher blurted, nearly falling out of his seat. That's it! It was him right there! It was Tanaka! It was! Of course it was Tanaka. I told you it was. I and Tanaka were dating, and then Tanaka became... That's why he was so easily bought from Osawa, because he hated him. Mamoru Tanaka!
That's what I said, Tanaka!
Toyama pointed excitedly at the TV screen.
That's who Kenji Osawa's wife was dating before they got married.
I was hoping for the story to surprise. Yeah, I mean, true. Mamoru Tanaka. But remember, this is 2008, but it still was surprising back then. Norikawa felt himself getting goosebumps. The victim of the terrorist bombing in Shibuya was also linked to the researcher who was key to a terrorist viral scare. His reporter's hunch was now a certainty. Right now, Shibuya was at the center of some massive conspiracy. This was far beyond even a major scoop.
Mr. Toyama, we need to make sure that next month's issue hits shelves.
Norikawa called up Kenji Osawa to let him know the results of his little investigation. The man didn't seem terribly surprised. Probably he'd had his suspicions all along. Osawa told him that there was something he needed to do before he was ready to give details on the big scoop, but that he would call back later. In the meantime, Norikawa knew he'd have his hands full getting the current issue of the gossip wrapped up for the 7 o'clock deadline. He slapped his head down on the table.
Alright, emergency editing meeting right here, he announced. We need to get a lead in on the Shibuya terrorist bombing in the next issue. The article about the twins winning the beauty contest can be dropped for that. We'll use the info from Kenji Osawa as the basis for a big scoop in the issue after that. Mr. Toyama, any problems with that?
No, that should be fine, but what about the remaining pages for the next month's issue?
Norikawa opened the file on his computer. The layout built in the DTP came up on the monitor. A report on the Burning Hammer sales demo, the surveillance camera opinion piece, the interview with Ori. Those 3 were finished. The copy already incorporated into the layout. Once Jackie's street interview piece was loaded in, that one could be checked off as well. Jackie, how's your copy coming along? I'm sorry, I just need a little bit longer. The writing seemed to still be giving her a fair bit of trouble. The article on SOS was still just a placeholder in the layout, and Norikawa hadn't even gotten any material for that, putting it even further behind than Jackie's street interviews. Still, he at least learned where Shibuya's legendary street gang made their hangout. He'd just have to take the risk of dropping in on them unannounced to ambush them with some interview questions. And then there was the lead-in from Shibuya bombing. That wasn't even in the layout yet. It was a completely blank slate. Against all odds, they were going to need to put the article together from nothing but just an hour and change. It was an impossible amount of work for just him and Chiaki to do. Well, and how are things coming along? Katsuyama rose and came closer, trying to peer at the monitor. Norikawa hurried to cover the screen.
Don't look!
If the printer rep saw all the blank pages, he might decide to stop waiting. Would you mind telling me roughly what % of the total you have completed thus far?
What percent? Come off it, man! We're at 100%!
If you're 100% done, that implies that you're all finished. Could I please have the data then?
No, I'm saying our willpower is at 100%.
I'm not even going to pretend I understand what you mean by that. Stop with the sadness, please. There's no reason for it. Shaking his head, Katsuyama sat back down in his chair.
Norikawa,
Toyama asked, his expression easy.
so I know I asked before, but why is someone from the printer here again?
Katsuyama promptly chimed in. The long and short of it is that your proofing deadline has been changed to 7 o'clock, he said.
What? But that's impossible! Who's doing the lead-in for the Shibuya bombing?
Toyama eyed Norikawa and then Chiaki. Both stared back non-committedly.
Then it really is impossible. We'll never meet that deadline. We don't have enough people.
No, we do have enough.
Murakawa thrusts out his finger.
Mr. Toyama, you're going to write that one and handle the layout.
What?
Heaven Publishing is your company. Won't you step up in order to protect it?
Toyama hung his head.
Come on, Toyama. Even if I headed to the scene right now, I'm sure the other outlets have already gotten their coverage. I wouldn't be able to find anything new to write about.
And so you're just going to give up?
A moment later, Toyama was on the floor, Murakawa glaring down at him.
You've always said you wanted to tell the world about the things the mass media can't or won't write about. So what the hell difference does it make if they're already gotten the sound bites they're after?
Murakawa's voice was raw with emotion.
Don't you dare give up! Not that easily. Get your ass out there, find something that only you can write about.
Minorikawa.
Toyama began to object, then he glanced over at Hana. There was an imploring look in her eyes as well.
I get what you're saying, Toyama grumbled. But still, you're expecting a lot.
But then, despite his words, he flashed a broad grin.
Yeah?
Minorikawa let out a quiet chuckle.
And it's got you all fired up.
Yeah, I'm fired up all right.
Toyama's face shone with a resolve Minorikawa hadn't seen in a long time.
There we go, that's the Toyama I know.
You know, I'm really sorry. Now I see the huge burden I put on you. But damn it, it's going to be alright.
Getting to his feet, Toyama took his daughter by the hand and strode boldly out of the cafe, looking like a changed man. Minorikawa watched them go, glad the day thing was over. Even if Toyama were still in his prime, he'd be cutting it close to do the article in an hour. But he would pull through somehow. When it came to taking care of Hana, the man would rise to the occasion again and again. Father and daughter disappeared into the crowd, hand in hand. Murakawa shook himself out of his reverie.
Alright, he cried.
Despite the clear blue sky, an unexpected gust of wind blew across his cheek.
Come on, guys, we gotta get going too.
Things might look grim, but he wasn't going to give up until the bitter end. It was time to head to the SOS hangout, Inferno. The three ran long and hard after leaving the cafe. If the proofing deadline was 7 o'clock, then they need to finish up with SOS by 6:30 at the latest. The gang's hangout was in Uraharajuku. Running all the way there on foot was going to eat into too much of their time. And there was a car accident as well, but traffic was at near standstill for some reason. There wasn't a taxi in sight. How long do you plan on running like this? How long do you plan on running like this? Katayama called out, panting. Just take a look at the road. With this traffic, there's no point in hailing a cab. Even Murakawa was feeling the time pressure now. Hailing a cab, you might say. Why, we know just the guy.
We're just gonna have to keep running until the road's clear.
What? Katayama wailed.
Stop your whining. Just keep quiet and stick with me.
He finally got Toyama to find his willpower again. Next month's issue would come out on time, and now, no way was some printer guy is going to mess that up now. But the traffic showed no signs of abating. Catching a cab wasn't going to be an option. Fighting an ever louder echo of despair, Minorikawa kept up his desperate headlong rush. To rush into a situation recklessly or heedlessly. Not quite the same as being Daredevil. Still, there were limits to how far the mind could push the body before exhaustion set in.
Eek!
As they were running across a pedestrian overpass, Chucky slipped and took a nasty fall. She skinned her knee hard enough to draw blood.
Hey you,
Minorikawa snapped at Katayama.
don't just stand there, help the poor girl already.
Katayama scurried over to Chiaki. I'm sorry, Mr. Mino. Chiaki's voice bubbled with suppressed tears. Maybe it was cruel to make her run with the computer all the way to Harajuku. But the copy for her interview still needed to be looked over. They couldn't just leave her here. Minorikawa hesitated, undecided. Even at a full run, they wouldn't make it in time. With traffic the way it was, there was nothing he could do. You now have, Katayama consulted his pocket watch, exactly 1 hour remaining.
Damn it, Murakawa raged. What do we do?
Relentlessly, the clock ticked on. To be continued. That's right. Fake Joel out. There's still more after this 1700 clock, and yes, I knew about it, but there is still more time. Because it's actually 10 hours. is the deadline, for those who don't remember the beginning. There's still a lot more to this game. 1700, though, is the climax. Let's play as Osawa. But we're going to finish the 1700 this entire stream today. The rain won't let up. The sound is growing louder and louder inside my head. It is the sound of regret spatting against my heart. The emotions surge like a terrible storm within me. I never wished for this. Never expected my heart to be dragged so far beyond my control. We can't save Maria. We can't save Maria. We can't save Maria. The words stormed through Osawa's mind in relentless cacophony. He called up images of the bodies from the human testing trials on his computer monitor. He couldn't help but imagine his daughter in the same gruesome state. In just a few more hours, Maria would begin hemorrhaging blood and die, just like the people in the pictures that... We can't save Maria. We can't save Maria. We can't save Maria. He couldn't shake the words of the reality from his mind.
Damn it! Damn it! Damn it!
Osawa began pounding his fist fiercely on the desktop.
Sir, what are you doing?
Kajiwara tried to intervene, but he kept on pounding away. When he finally ceased, the pain of the repeated impacts lingered in his hands.
My research was never about any sincere desire to help people, and now I'm paying the price for that. The one time it finally matters, I can't even save my own daughter.
Mr. Osawa, Kajiwara set a hand on his shoulder. You can always blame yourself later, but for now think again, good and hard. Is there really no other way to save Maria? Nothing else we could try? Osawa shook his head.
The only means we have left was using Tanaka's password to unlock the doors.
Now Tanaka was dead.
There's no other way.
Is there a possibility that Mr. Tanaka told someone else his password? This was something Osawa hadn't considered. Welcome back, Cheese Lord. Was there anyone Tanaka might have shared his password with? Only one person came to mind.
Well, yes, there may be someone.
You're referring to I, sir. Kajiwara cast his eyes down.
You figured that out, then?
Yes. Back during the commotion over that listening device, a necktie clip isn't typically the sort of present one gives to one's husband coworker, and although some might consider it somewhat inappropriate, Mr. Tanaka was wearing it as if it were a matter of course. Which implies something about their relationship. Welcome back, Robert. We already knew. Kajiwara's voice trailed off. He coughed apologetically and tried again. I realize it's an awkward situation, sir, but please check with your wife.
Even if I does happen to know the password, that does no good if Maria gets quarantined someplace we can't reach her.
I understand, Mr. Osawa. I'll bring Maria to you, then. I'll do everything in my power to make that happen.
Bananas! Let's go!
The detective then produced a bunch of bananas from his pocket. These are all left over. You're more than welcome to them, sir. Despite his gentle smile, the rest of his face was firm with resolve.
You said you didn't care whether other...
You said you didn't care when other people understood you, didn't you, Mr. Osawa?
Osawa nodded guardedly.
At the risk of being presumptuous, sir, I understand you, Kajiwara said.
I used to be quite the workaholic myself.
You're just like me, innocent and awkward. On another occasion, Kajiwara was shocked to run into a man who looked just like him. The fellow was a stylist at a hair salon Kajiwara visits on occasion. He let out a gasp of surprise of his own upon seeing the detective. Kajiwara felt a peculiar connection and was expecting to go to the salon regularly, but while the stylist asked what he did for a living and Kajiwara answered honestly that he was a detective, the other man's face went pale and he bolted out of the building. Kajiwara never saw the man again after that. Interesting.
Calling yourself innocent, huh? How modest of you.
Osawa let out a sardonic chuckle, and after a moment, Kajiwara joined in. The next time I see you, Mr. Osawa, I'll have Maria with me. The detective gave a slight bow, then left the study, a look of determination on his face. Let's go! Osawa watched him go with admiration. No matter what trouble arose, the man always looked for something he could do. He really was a fellow who knew how to hang tough.
Compared to that...
Osawa couldn't even articulate his own self-disgust. And asking Guy about the password would also mean inquiring into her relationship with Tanaka. The prospect was daunting. Venturing into the emotional territory of another person was his weakest suit. He left the study, but somehow found himself making his way to Maria's room, not Ai's. He realized that he hadn't been into his daughter's room since a certain rainy day years before. Now he stepped quietly inside and saw Maria's world laid out before him. A small photo was set atop her neat and tidy desk. It was a close-up of someone's hands doing a cat's cradle. Whose hands were they? From the skin tone, they didn't appear to be Maria's. Several more photographs were pinned to the corkboard that hung on the wall. There were snapshots of people in townscapes from the Middle East. One glance at them, and Osawa felt like he was back there for a moment. The images weren't necessarily aesthetically pleasing, but they all looked like they had been taken by a professional. When he spotted the last photo on the corkboard, however, he was certain that Maria had taken them all. Aww. The last picture was of Osawa himself. He was facing the camera, holding some luggage and flashing an awkward smile. It was a comical, affectionate image. He never knew that photography was one of his daughter's hobbies. No, this went beyond a mere hobby. Did she perhaps aspire to be a professional photographer one day? She certainly had the aptitude for it, from the look of things. Maria, a photographer. As he mulled the idea over, Osawa felt his chest tighten. Right now, it looked like Maria's hopes and dreams were about to be stuffed out. Their future consisted of bleeding to death a few short hours from now. Osawa stared vacantly at the window. The view from Maria's room remained unchanged from so long ago. Again, that rainy day crept back into his mind, as vivid as the present. On that day, Osawa was dealing with some pressing business from work. He ensconced himself in his study, wrestling with some paperwork when Hitomi barged in, looking distraught.
Maria's gone.
Sensing that Hitomi was legitimately alarmed, Osawa hurried to Maria's room. He found a letter she'd left atop her writing desk. Dad, you only care about Hitomi. You're always working and never do anything with me, so I'm running away. You've seen this before. A few hours earlier, he canceled their weekend trip to the amusement park. He just wasn't going to be able to get his work done in time. Hitomi had resigned herself readily enough, but Maria just couldn't accept it. She'd been looking forward to it for so long. She railed at him. How many times now had he broken one of his promises to her? Hitomi understands why we can't go, so why can't you just do the same? Hitomi understands why we can't go, so why can't you do the same? The cold rebuke had ended her complaining, but it was clear she still didn't accept the situation. Now Hitomi helped him look around, but they found nothing missing from Maria's room. Despite her assertion that she was running away, then it seemed like there was no point in being overly concerned. Maybe she's at the park as she always goes to. Hitomi looked worried. The park was roughly a 25-minute walk from the house. It would take about an hour for Osawa to go get her and bring her home, but an hour is more than he could afford to spare right now. Dad, I think she's waiting for you to go after her. Osawa didn't need Hitomi to tell him that. He knew it well enough. That was what galled him so much about the situation. Why did she have to pull something like this precisely when his work was at its busiest? He'd done everything he could as a father since his wife had passed away. Why couldn't his daughter see that? It's all right. Your sister will come back. The rain was coming down pretty hard outside the window. Do you think she brought an umbrella? Hitomi asked anxiously. I don't know, but with a rain like this, she'll come back home soon enough. He spoke the words for himself as much as for Hitomi. Then he headed back to his study and got back to work. True, cream cheese. But several hours went by and still Maria did not return. The rain had gotten even more intense, to the point where Osawa could hear it at his study. He was so concerned about his missing girl that he couldn't focus on his work, but he stubbornly refused to give in and go search for her. Several more hours passed. At last, Maria appeared at the front door, soaking wet. Osawa met her silently in the entryway. Wet strands of hair clung to the girl's forehead as she looked up at her father with a bitter glare. You don't care what happens to me, do you? Immediately, Osawa smacked her across the cheek with the flat of his hand. It was the first time in his life he'd ever struck anyone. He hadn't known such a violent impulse could exist inside him. Maria stood there, her hand pressed to her cheek. Tears welled up in her eyes. She began to tremble. On her lip was a small bead of blood. A flood of guilt and regret rose up inside Osawa, as if he just shattered some intricate piece of glasswork. How could I do such a thing? He clenched his shameful hand into a fist. And in that moment, he was afraid of Maria. After that, his daughter could bring such raw emotion out of him and make him do something so thoughtless. But even more, he was afraid of how stunted he was as a human being. Was someone like him really fit to be a parent? What kind of future could Maria and Hitomi hope for with a father like him? Damn, this is tough. And my throat's killing me. Man, this is tough. It's tough. That was why he'd married Ai, as Makino had proposed. Having a mother, he decided would help keep his family together despite their sad excuse for a father. But in so doing, Osawa had dug a psychological ditch between himself and his daughters. A deep ditch so that he could keep his daughters from being hurt. So that he wouldn't hurt himself. Oh. He just wants to be a good dad. Now Osawa was staring across that ditch, wondering if it was too wide to leap. He thought back to his earliest exchange with Kajiwara. If you get angry, you show it. If you get sad, you show it. It's human nature to let other people know how we're feeling, after all. What if I'm doing that? But what if doing that hurts the other person? That's when you apologize, sir. Kajiwara is rising in the best character department here. Yes, that was right. He needed to apologize to Maria for what he'd done that day. It still wasn't too late. It's never too late. When it comes to family, there's no such thing as game over. He recalled Pretty Honey's words. He needed to apologize to Maria, and so he needed to ask Ai for that password. Osawa was going to have to face his wife. Damn. Keep out. Alright. Let's finish Osawa's first. We're gonna finish Osawa's, then we'll finish Kano's, probably. Or Achi's, whichever first. That's the wrong button. Osawa's phone rang and Minarikawa's phone number popped up on the LCD's display. The reporter must have finished looking into the matter Osawa had asked about.
Mr. Osawa, sorry to keep you waiting.
How did it go?
Well, I looked into the background of the story you asked about, and I learned who it was your wife was dating.
Who was it? Osawa asked immediately. There was a brief pause.
Mamoru Tanaka.
I see. Finally had proof positive of a relationship between Ai and Tanaka. Now, more than ever, it was no time to waver. No matter how painful the reality was, it was also true that if they hadn't been dating, there'd probably be no way of saving Maria.
So, Minarikawa said, what was this big thing about disrupting the power balance of the world all about?
There's something I need to take care of on my end first. Once I'm finished, I'll tell you everything.
Yeah, that's fine. Things are pretty hectic on my end right now anyway.
Osawa expected Minarikawa to put up more of a fight. He figured a reporter for 4-star General Gossip would be a bit more persistent. Oh, by the way, there was one other thing I wanted to...
Oh, by the way, there was one other thing I wanted to tell you, Mr. Osawa.
Osawa could practically sense the finger pointing his way from the other end of the line.
Don't be too angry with your wife. All too often in this world, people let their anger get in the way of solving their problems.
You may have a point, Osawa let out a wry chuckle. Alright then, I'll call you back later.
Yeah, the big friendship and all the friends.
Alright, let's face Ai. Osawa found Ai standing by herself in the yard. She kept her back to him as he approached. May I have a moment? He asked quietly.
What?
Still, she didn't bother to turn around. There's something important I need to talk to you about.
I'm not in the mood right now.
Please, Ai. I realize you're upset about Tanaka's death, but at the mention of Tanaka's name, Ai slowly shook her head.
Don't. Just tell me what you want. Hurry up and get to the point.
Osawa tried to move closer to her, but she pointedly kept her distance. This was no time to mince words. Did Tanaka give you his password? There was something Osawa needed to hear for himself before this went any further. Were you in love with Tanaka? We're gonna have to see both of these! But there's no time to mince words. There was no time to mince words. Did Tanaka give you his password?
His password?
For the electronic lock in the lab. I need it in order to get the antiviral out. I turned to face him at last.
To get it out? What are you thinking? That belongs to the company.
I just need one dose to save Maria. Please, if you know, please tell me.
I don't know it.
Damn it. Ai's voice was barely a whisper. Osawa looked his wife right in the eye. You're telling the truth.
I am.
I see. Then do you have any idea what number he might have used for a password? I shook her head silently, then turned her back to her husband once more.
Even if I did know, she said, I wouldn't tell you.
Why not?
Don't you get it? Ai's words came out as a strangled rasp. Do you even know why I'm with you? She snapped. You really have no idea how much you're worth, do you?
The value of one woman's life versus the potential profits her research will bring in. There's no comparing the two. If it meant that Ososhi Pharmaceutical could monopolize her talents, then what did it even matter what I wanted for myself? There was something akin to desperation in her eyes' words. It's so you sent me those threatening emails, too. What? I looked at him in shock. He knew he'd guessed correctly. You would go that far just to keep me tied to your father's business. Wait, that's right, I would. I bit down on her lip hard. But what would you even know about how I feel? I'm sorry. Don't apologize, I'm not the victim here. You say that, but isn't it because of me that you and Tanaka weren't able to stay together? I began to tremble. Her secret was out. When did you figure it out? She asked. Earlier today. The tie clip. Right. Not the sort of gift one gives to a husband's coworker, is it? I smiled was bitter with self-deprecation. Masamo couldn't help pity her. Even Tanaka must have suspected that she placed the company's profit above all else if she'd go to such great lengths to protect it. It was like she'd given up her entire life just for that. Please, don't mess my life up any more than you already have. Ai's words were only a faint murmur, but Osawa felt the rejection they carried with an agonizing clarity. Tanaka hadn't given Ai his password. Osawa's last chance had gone up in smoke. He let out a long, shaky breath and shut his eyes tight. Was it true? Was there nothing more he could do? No, there is more! There definitely is more, Kenji. Another keep out! I think Kano. I think this is a Kano keep out. Because I think Kano is going to, wait, what? 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 Wait, what? Wait, what? I chose the wrong thing. Excuse me. Wait, no, it's not gonna be a Kano choice. It's gotta be an Achi choice, right? By bringing Tomi in, do you mean you're going to arrest her? Why am I thinking that's Achi? It's Minorikawa, obviously. By bringing Tomi in, do you mean you're... Why am I doing Minorikawa's voice? Oh my gosh. By bringing Tomi in, do you mean you're going to arrest her? Achi couldn't think of any other reason to take her at the precinct. I'm just going to move her someplace safe. With that, Stanley proceeded to wrap up his phone call. Guess I'm not going to get much out of this guy, he thought. Move her someplace safe, huh? Was he actually serious or just being evasive? Achi couldn't really tell. If they did try to arrest Tomi, though, Achi intended to stop them one way or another. He needed to protect her. All the way to the end. And really, he reaffirmed the vow he made earlier to keep her safe whatever it took. Yeah, no, it's not really succeeding. I don't think it's trying to make you care about Ai. I think it's just that they're worried. Yeah, definitely a keep out. So there's definitely... I need to choose the right choice here. And it's probably something that's inside of a option. For now, Minorikawa decided he better butter this guy up.
Say, you look like a pretty tough guy. You work out?
Sagawa grinned, thrusting his fist out in an empathetic air punch. I used to be a boxer. Back in his boxing days, Sagawa was so tough, people called him the dogfighter of Shibuya. One day, however, as he was walking along, he happened to step on a strange panel that made him fall into a state of confusion and go on a rampage. He was quickly arrested and his boxing license was revoked. The mysterious panels Sagawa stepped on, they say there are also panels shaped like feet and even panels shaped like rice balls. That's weird. I don't know what that is. Is that a reference?
I could drop a guy like you in one punch. Oh ho, guess there aren't that many folks who can give you a good fight then.
No, he's gonna talk about Achi and that's why. Oh, he's gonna talk about Achi and then we go there. Okay. Sagawa dropped into a fighting pose and threw a few quick jabs.
Well, matter of fact, I'm unbeatable in a street fight. They call me the crazy tiger Shibuya. Shibuya, huh? You familiar with SOS then?
Sagawa's face twisted with a sneer.
What, those guys? I mean, I've heard they're pretty tough too. Humph. Only one of them who'd be able to give me a fight would probably be that Achi Endo.
What? That's still not it? I figured that had to be it. That had to be it. Maybe C? Nothing suitable came to mind. Probably Toyama should decide. You got any suggestions, Murakawa said? Let's see. There's a bar in Dakiyama I drop by a lot. How about there? A very fashionable yet relaxed neighborhood in Shibuya. High-end boutiques, high-end restaurants, high-end confectionery shops, high-end cafes, high-end interior design stores, and high-end residential housing all line the streets. A settlement dating back 2,000 years to the Yayoi period have been excavated in Daikanyama, but it cannot be said for sure whether its dwellings were high-end for the time. Yeah, that'll work fine. Okay, so start by heading north from Shibuya Station. After a while, then you'll hit the three-way intersection, turn left there, and then about 100 meters after that, take a right. Along the way, there'll be a side street that branches off at a diagonal. Go down that and take a right at the second intersection. Then head back down the stairs there, and it'll look like you need to go left at this slightly curving incline, but go right. Okay, this is getting way too complicated. Forget it, I'll pick a place. Murakawa suggested the cafe by the station, but by now it was comfortably familiar. He quickly described the location. Okay, Toyama said. Cafe Lautrec. Got it, I'll see you there. He hung up, and Murakawa quickly gathered his belongings. GG. There's gotta be something. Wait. No, it is a Kano jump. It's gotta be a Kano jump. Where the GPS leads. No, it's not that. Kano scanned the area. It's just that Endo Electronics is right up ahead. What? Ken stopped abruptly. What are you suggesting? Nope, that didn't work. What are we missing here? A nagging thought. Maybe I have to choose the right actions here? I don't know. Tell me this, he said to Kennen. Why not just kidnap Hitomi in the first place? There's really no way. Why not just kidnap Hitomi in the first place? Why not just kidnap Hitomi in the first place? That was the key question right there. Why kidnap Maria instead? If Alphard wanted Hitomi's blood, abducting her, not the sister, was the obvious move. The girls hadn't gotten themselves mixed up, had they? Maria with Hitomi, Hitomi with Maria. If that were the case, then the Syndicate's plan actually had been to abduct Hitomi. Yeah, Kano said excitedly. When you think about it, it all makes sense. Kennen gave him a look. No, it doesn't. Not that it isn't an interesting idea. Well, so much for that, Kano thought. I've met both of Maria and Hitomi, Kennen said. They look alike, but they're completely different. There was definitely Maria who was here just now. She had a point. Last night back at the Osawa residence, when Hitomi had agreed to make the ransom handoff, her parents would have been with her, and they certainly wouldn't get Maria and Hitomi confused. It was hard to believe the girls had actually switched places, which meant the criminals had deliberately abducted Maria after all. It'd be like mixing up two completely different colors, Kennen said. They're that different. So it wasn't Alphard's mistake. It's my fault that Maria was kidnapped. Kennen looked away. Man, we're still going. Let's choose the other two? I don't know where to go. Was there really no other way to get the antiviral? Kinda wanted to make absolutely sure. If there were people besides Osawa and Tanaka who had the means to get the drug out, they'd change the story completely. I infiltrated the lab's security system and did some looking around, Kennen said. There's nothing in the logs showing that anything was taken out. There's also no signs that the logs were altered at all. Which means we should assume nobody else was capable of taking the antiviral out. Alphard must have made the same assumption to decide to use Hitomi. I see. Under the circumstances, that made sense. If some third party could have gotten the antiviral, Alphard probably would have reached out for them from the beginning. There would have been no need to go through the trouble of injecting Hitomi with the virus, getting her into the lab, and using her to sneak the antiviral out. Even so, Kano still found one thing confusing. If that's the case, why kidnap Maria? Why not just kidnap Hitomi and be done with it? Alright, sure they could have been so foolish as to abduct the wrong target. Let's choose that one. Sure they could have been so foolish to abduct the wrong target, so kidnapping Maria must have been intentional. But it didn't add up. No matter how he looked at it, Kano couldn't see any reason to kidnap Hitomi's sister. It's my fault that Maria was kidnapped. Kano looked away. I contacted her before this all started, and we're back to here. No worries. Asking Hitomi's location? Maybe. Spotlight should probably solve, obviously. Besides, was wise trust this one woman. With his options for a moment. Alright, I'll tell you. Kano agreed. The girl gave a tiny nod. But first, what's your name? Kennen. Kennen? Connell thought back to the grisly scene at the Foreign Syndicate's hideout, which we've seen. I like her knife, by the way. Did she do that? He was almost afraid to wonder. There was still a lingering trace of adolescence in the girl's strange face. Seriously. Nice, Happy. Nice. What am I missing? No way I can't share that info? No way I can't share that info. A thin smile came to the girl's face. That's very noble of you, but I think once you hear what I have to say, you'll change your mind. Who are you? My name is Cannon. Cannon? And we're back here. Why? What am I missing? Seriously. I'm almost out of options here. How the antiviral was stolen. Oh, I know the option. I know the option. I know the option. Katone-kun has probably been screaming it this entire time. let's just choose Endo. Endo! Toyama furrowed his brown, muttered under his breath. No, that's not right. Chiyotanada! Chiyotanada? Maybe that was it. Just on the television inside the cafe, switched on to news report. Remains an individual discovered. Hold on, we need to continue this. Mamoru Tanaka. Toyama turned, like, victim's face. What? Another fog off his seat. That's nothing at all what I just said. Hold on, what else am I looking for? Those Kenji's wife dated before they got married, and we're gonna to be continued. Okay, sisters reunited. Let's go, Maria's here, guys! Yes! The workroom door slowly eased open. Achi was too shocked for words. The girl who entered looked just like Hitomi. Maria! Hitomi! Achi blinked in bewilderment. It was almost as if Hitomi were standing in front of a mirror. The two girls looked so similar. Maria, thank goodness you're all right. I'm so sorry I had you worried. Maria was safe, Achi realized. At last, he had managed to fulfill his duty. How did you manage to get out of the storeroom? How did you manage to get out of the storeroom? Desuke had gone pale. Tell me, Maria said sharply. Who was it who came up with this kidnapping plan? I don't know why I'm doing this. Suddenly, Daisuke shoved Maria aside and lunged for Hitomi. Stanley moved to stop him, but before he could intervene, the older man had a hold of Hitomi, pressing something that looked like a flashlight up against her neck. Dad! Achi stared toward him, but Stanley held up a hand. Don't move. That's a stun gun. A piece of self-defense equipment for repelling would-be attackers with electrical shock. There are several types, including baton-type stun prods and guns that fire needles attached to flexible wires. The latter type especially is frequently referred to in the US as a taser gun due to the popular models produced by Taser International, now Axon. Stun guns are used not only by civilians, but also by law enforcement and military personnel for non-lethal applications. If he zaps her in the neck, it could kill her. You know your stuff, Daisuke said. You deal in American electronics? No, I do this for a living. Stanley drew his gun in an instant, taking aim at Daisuke's forehead. Wait, hold on! Achi interposed himself between Stanley and his father. Achi was too shocked to even move. Wait, hold on! Achi interposed himself between Stanley and his father. Dad, let Hitomi go! You need to stop this nonsense! Achi walked slowly toward his father, a pleading look in his eyes. Nonsense? Which one of us is talking nonsense here? You don't know what's going on. If you knew everything, then you'd be helping me. What do you mean, everything? What do you mean, everything? With this girl's heart, we can save Suzune! Dad, who was it exactly that told you that? Daisuke did not reply. I asked you a question. Who was it that put that crazy idea into your head? A foreign organ trafficker I met at a hospital. Daisuke said. In Japan, a medical profession known as a transplant coordinator handles the liaison between the donor and recipient parties, but there are many cases of illegal or borderline illegal activity carried out by third-party organ brokers. There are countries where organ transplants are openly performed for monetary gain, and no shortage of specialists willing to do the job. These questionable markets include suppliers who source viable organs and tissues for transplant for cadavers. Stanley let out a snort. A likely story. A likely story.
It's true, I was suspicious at first myself, Daisuke said summarily, but I couldn't just sit around and wait for Suzune to die. And after talking to him about her rare blood type and all the difficulties of performing a transplant, he promised he'd do everything in his power.
Daisuke's hands were trembling. Tears welled up in his vacant and bloodshot eyes. Yeah, you're not making a good impression on Naishi's girlfriend.
Then a while later, he got back in touch and told me he found a potential match, someone with the same blood type as Suzune and roughly the same age. But then he told me that the girl was still alive. And so what was the point? Her heart might be in a match for Suzune's, but it didn't matter if we couldn't get it out of our hands on it. I said that, but then the man told me. He told you what?
He told you what? Achi bit his lip.
He told me to abduct her and turn her over to him. After that, he'd find a way to make it all work.
At last, Daisuke had confessed. Now Achi had to try to come to grips with the truth he had just heard.
I had to do something, his father continued vehemently. I had to abduct this girl and see things through. I just couldn't take it. Katoni had already been taken from me, the thought of losing Suzune too. I had to make sure I didn't fail.
So it was this organ trafficker who came up with the kidnapping scheme then, Stanley said. He kept his gun aimed at his target. I can't be consistent with voices, I'm so sorry. Daisuke nodded.
Describe him for me. He was tall, had black hair, spoke fluent Japanese.
Stanley raised an eyebrow at that. Achi wondered if he had some idea who it might be.
And taking Maria Sama hostage in order to lure her to Tomi, that was his idea as well? Yes, that's right. I allowed his computer to access my surveillance camera system as well. But then, this morning, I got a call from the hospital saying Suzune's condition was critical. I couldn't wait any longer. I had to help my girl right away. And then...
Daisuke cut himself off, reaffirming his grip on his stun gun.
I was looking at the surveillance monitor and I saw a detective I happened to know. He was right next to this girl here. And so I decided to ask him. I knew if I did, he wouldn't refuse. He could never refuse a request from me.
And that was the man with the cane, Achi asked. His voice was low and hoarse.
Yes, I was giving him directions while I followed you on the monitors.
Dad, you need to let go of Hitomi now. There's no point to this. Achi took another step closer to his father.
There is a point. If I kill this girl here and now, your sister can get the surgeries she needs.
But even Achi knew that things could possibly work out that way. His father had grown so desperate to help Suzune that he lost all sense of judgment.
Why, Achi? Why won't you help me? Don't you want to save Suzune?
Daisuke made a pathetic sight, and yet his desperation to save his child was so palpable it was heartrending. Achi thought back to the time he laid his father out when sparring. No matter how pathetic he may have looked, Achi had always felt that sense of parental love for him.
You're not going to be able to talk him down,
Stanley murmured. Achi shook his head. Stanley, he said, lower your gun. Tears were welling up in his eyes. Please, lower your gun. Hearing the determination in Achi's voice, Stanley quietly complied. Achi stepped up to Daisuke, getting a firm grip on his father's slender shoulder. Dad, of course I want to help Suzune.
Then why are you trying to stop me?
Dad, do you think this is really what she'd want you to do? You're killing somebody to save her. Daisuke's face fell. Did Suzune ask for this, Dad? Did she tell you to take someone else's heart so that she could live longer? Did she, Dad? Suddenly the fight seemed to ebb from Daisuke's body. The stun gun hung limply in his hand. If Suzune asked me to go get someone's heart for her, I wouldn't object. I'd help her just like she wanted. I wouldn't let you bear these crimes by yourself. But that's not what this is it? Suzune would never ask us to do something like this, would she? But now tears were streaming down Achi's cheeks. He knew that his father thought about Suzune more than he thought of anyone else. And so he should know full well that she would never want this. Suzune's not like me. She's smart. She's kind. She'd never be happy about taking someone else's heart. Even if it saved her life, I'm sure she'd never accept that. She wouldn't be able to live with it, knowing something so horrible had happened to someone else for her sake. Isn't that the Suzune we know? Daisuke's cheeks were smeared with tears, now as well.
But then we're not going to be able to help her.
The sound of father and son weeping echoed throughout the workroom.
Maybe so, maybe we won't. But that's better than the misery and suffering she'd have to live with.
Daisuke slumped to his knees on the floor, collapsing like a crumbling mound of sand. Hitomi, freed from his grip, stood motionless. There were tears in her eyes, too.
You're such an idiot, Dad. Such a complete and utter idiot.
Sobbing, Achi embraced his father. There was a sudden thud from near the door. Everyone turned to look. Maria had crumpled to the floor, and a newcomer had appeared. At some point, Ken had silently entered the room, and now she cradled Maria in her arms. Standing at the doorway was a man Achi didn't recognize, his face pale. "Stay back!" Kenan shouted at Achi. "Stay back!" Kenan shouted at Achi when he tried to approach. It looked like Maria had fallen unconscious. Achi's heart was racing in his chest. An eerie silence fell over the room. For several seconds, no one said a word, their eyes all fixed on Maria. Finally, Cannon looked up, her face ashen. It's starting. The UA virus is taking hold of Maria. To be continued. After the young man's desperate pleading, the other fellow, apparently his father, finally gave in. He released his hold on Hitomi. The tension in the room was replaced by a solemn air of gravitas. Seeing father and son weeping as they spoke made Kano think back to his conversation with Toteno before the stakeout. What was it in people that drove them to such horrible things? Sometimes it was the desire to save the ones they loved. Even such a heartfelt human emotion could drive someone to wrongdoing. 2 sheeples left? What do you mean 2 sheeples? Jeez. Why? Why did people have to be like that? Sudden thud snapped Kano out of his musing. An instant later, Kanon hurried past him to the workroom. Maria had collapsed on the floor, and now Kanon was beside her. In a panic, Kano rushed into the workroom as well. "Stay back! Stay back!" Kanon shouted as the others tried to hurdle around the fallen girl. "Please don't be what I think this is." Oh, I gotcha. Had the virus gone symptomatic? 2 hours ago, Stanley had told Kano that Maria was infected. He'd also said that her symptoms wouldn't develop for another 4 hours. Shouldn't they still have 2 more hours to go? Maria looked like she was dead, her eyes closed, her body motionless. Hitomi tried to approach despite Kanon's warnings. "Maria!" she cried. "Maria, what's wrong?" Kano held his arms wide to hold her back. "Your sister has been infected with the UA virus." "The UA virus?" Hitomi's face went pale. "Hey," Kano said to Kanon. "Should you really be that close? If she's developed symptoms..." But Kanon didn't move from Maria's side. She calmly rested her hand on the other girl's forehead. "There's no fever," she said, "and there's no blood coming from her ears, no limb swelling. It'll be alright. She hasn't gone symptomatic yet." "In that case, why did she collapse?" Hitomi asked. "I'm not sure yet. Whatever the case, if we don't get her that antiviral, she's done for." "Then we have to get her to the lab right away," Hitomi said. She was trembling with anxiety. "No, that's not an option." Kano's tone was grave. "You may already be aware, Miss Osawa, but without a password, we can't access the antiviral storage." "But when I went there, my father, Mr. Tanaka..." "Mamoru Tanaka is dead. Murdered." "What?" She stared at him uncomprehendingly. No, that can't be true." "He was a member of a crime syndicate. It's possible they killed him in order to silence him." "So then, there's no way to save my sister?" There was a hollow look in Hitomi's eyes. "No, I won't accept that! Why? Why can't we help her?" But no one had an answer. Kano gritted his teeth and hung his head. Why did it have to come to this? He'd come this far, but there was nothing he could do, and he hated himself for it. "I'll go to the laboratory." It was Cannon. Electronic lock breaking is my specialty. Wait, the young man, Achi, spoke up suddenly. So you're a martial art badass, but your specialty is lock breaking? He looked positively dumbstruck. Ken ignored him, thinking out loud. Brute force. A cryptanalysis technique that involves test input of all theoretical possible patterns. If time were unlimited, this would be the most reliable means of decipherment. However, in practice, the process takes massive amounts of time and computational power. It can be defeated by systems that prohibit access after a limited number of failed input attempts. Side channel. Rather than trying to decipher the password itself, this method involves analyzing information from the device, such as processing time, power consumption, and electromagnetic leaks, and using these details to exploit the system. Isolating the run state of devices is a crucial element of countering side channel attacks. Shortcut. A cryptanalysis method that uses mathematical algorithms to carry out efficient bulk calculations against a block cipher that makes use of a shared key for encryption and decryption. Even when such calculations are theoretically possible, however, in practice the process requires large amounts of time, and the block cipher is seldom at real risk. Given the situation, I think I have to go with side channel.
Side channel? Stanley asked. Where's your equipment?
One of the lab PCs will suffice. I can connect to a special server from the net.
I don't really understand the stuff you're talking about, Achi said. I'll trust you to handle this. I mean, you did risk your life to save Atomi from the minivan explosion and all.
Cannon nodded.
I have to warn you in advance, though.
Cryptanalysis can take hours and still yield no results. I can't guarantee I'll be able to get the doors unlocked before Maria develops symptoms. I understand, Atomi said. Achi nodded too. No one present had any objections. All of a sudden, there was a curious sound from somewhere in the room. What's that? Kano asked. What's making that noise? He looked around the workroom. That's my computer. Daisuke hurried to his desktop. What? The bank and the monitors, which had been displaying surveillance camera footage from around Shibuya, had all gone black.
What the hell?
What's going on, Dad? Achi joined his father, staring at the computer screens.
It's all gone. The camera footage, it's been deleted.
Daisuke blinked in disbelief. Now then, it seems our main cast has all been assembled. A man's voice distorted by a...
Now then,
It seems our main cast has been assembled.
A man's voice, distorted by a voice modulator, suddenly emerged from the computer speakers. A moment later, the monitors all began to display a view of the inside of the workroom.
Dad, what the hell is this?
Someone's broken through our firewall. A security system for preventing unauthorized intrusion into a computer network. The term stems from a metaphorical reapplication of the concept of a wall meant to inhibit the spread of fire or other destructive forces.
They've hijacked the surveillance camera system.
The color drained from Daisuke's face as he looked on the screens. Where are they filming us from? Kano asked, getting to the inside of the room. He used the image of the monitors to guess where the cameras might be located. Over here? The lens and camera set atop the computer monitor gleamed like an eye. It was a miniature camera used for web conferencing and the like.
Now that Maria and Hitomi are both there, you have probably surmised the situation at hand. And so I offer a proposal. The laboratory password in exchange for Hitomi's blood.
Realizing now that was Alfred's voice they were hearing, everyone in the room froze.
At 7 o'clock, roughly 1 hour from now, see that Hitomi Osawa is waiting at the Scramble intersection outside Shibuya Station like just this morning. Unless, of course, you're feeling practically confident. You do have Cannon with you. Perhaps you can take a gamble on our lock-breaking skills instead.
Cannon clucked her tongue in frustration. Alfred had known exactly what the plan was.
Of course, if Cannon isn't able to get through the door open in time, what will you do then? Maria is sure to die, yes. But that's not all. If you don't agree to my offer, I have the means of creating another Maria, and a third. These infectees will spread the virus throughout Tokyo. The death toll will likely number in the hundreds of thousands.
It is difficult to predict the scope of infection in the event of a bioterrorist attack, employing a highly infectious viral agent in the city with a large and mobile population. In a worst-case scenario, some researchers estimate as many as 7 million infected in a matter of days. I mean, true, Kitone.
So do you think you can... do you think carefully before you decide?
Alfred's voice was chilling, matter of fact. I can't do a robotic voice, I'm sorry.
I will be at the rendezvous in person.
After all, it wouldn't do for the star of the show to miss the final curtain. I'm looking forward to meeting all of you then. Silence fell. Then the images of the computer monitor returned to normal. The surveillance camera footage came back online as well. Desk guy promptly yanked out his Ethernet cable and slammed his fist on the keyboard.
Damn it! There's a hole in the firewall. I have to redo my security from the ground up.
Good call, Cannon said calmly. We can't win this if our intel keeps getting leaked. Stanley perused his list in concentration. What do we do? Kano asked him. Do we give in to his demands? I mean, do we really expect he's just going to blithely show up like that? He's practically begging for us to come and catch him. There had been some deeper plan at work. If it means saving my sister, I'll do it. And Tommy was resolute.
No, Stanley said you can't.
What? Why not?
Because if you do, you'll be killed.
What? And Tommy's voice caught in her throat.
With the antiviral still present in your body, a week after that fact, you're too much of a liability for Alphard to just let go.
He's right! Don't do that! Archie exclaimed. He told me you can't go! Even still, I want to do it. And Tommy stared defiantly at Stanley. You still want to go even though that you'll be killed? I can't just sit here and hope that Cannon is able to pull this off, she said. I want to do something for my sister. I want to save her. She peered down at Maria, sprawled on the floor. She'd object to me going. I'm sure of that. But I want to do what I can. To do things my way. No one tried to contradict her this time. If she's willing to take the risk...
If she's willing to take the risk, then there are things the rest of you can do too.
It was Cannon again. Let's hear it, Connor replied. He squared his shoulders. He was of the same mind as Hitomi. He couldn't just do nothing and leave it all to Cannon. After everything he'd been through, he wanted to stick with this case until the very end. Apprehend Alphard at the rendezvous and then demand the password from him. Cannon offered the suggestion as if for a simple task. That lets you get what you want without putting Hitomi in danger. Connor let out a sigh. Hold on, he said. Even if we do arrest him, how are we going to get him to cough up the password? We don't have time to drag him off into an interrogation room. And besides, he doesn't strike me as the sort to offer a confession that easily. There are ways, Cannon said. Once Alphard has made contact with Hitomi, call my cell phone. Hitomi tilted her head. Call you? I have plenty of information Alphard might want to bargain for. I can negotiate with him directly. Kano considered Cannon's proposal. I see. So we'll try both options. Attempt to hack the password lab and also try to negotiate with Alphard. It gives us two chances. With a tiny ray of hope, Hitomi's face brightened some. We'll split into two groups, one for the lab and one for... We'll split into two groups, one for the lab and one for Shibuya Station, Cannon said. Let's exchange phone numbers so we can be in touch when the time comes. The group quickly shared contact info as suggested. Hitomi and Cannon called one another's phones to be sure. Hitomi's cheerful ringtone fell out of place, but also somehow soothing, a fragment of normalcy in the midst of a crisis. Well, guess we're all set, Hitomi said, looking down at the LCD screen. Her expression turned apologetic. I'm sorry, Cannon, for having to keep putting things on you. Hey, Cannon replied. Don't worry about it. Okay, now I guess I should call my father. Hitomi called Kenji Osawa in his cell, asking him to let Maria and Cannon into the lab. Kano leaned into the whisper into Cannon's ear. Are you sure you're okay with this? With what? I know that you're after Alphard. Are you sure you want to go to the lab and not? Right now, I want to save Maria. That's all. Her tone was as curt and mechanical as ever, but there was a fierce gleam of determination in her eyes. Maria was clearly someone very special to her. All right, Kano replied. Leave Alphard to me. He thumped himself on the chest. He'd succeed this time, no matter what the odds. Kano could scarcely recall the whirlwind of events that had brought him here. He'd somehow survived a dozen disasters, even now a dear friend who was in the hospital at risk of dying. There were times where he'd be ready to give up, and yet, at the end of it all, here he was. His opponent was an international terrorist. No matter how you looked at it, this wasn't the matchup for a mere detective. But I'm going to do it anyway. Rumi, Shizo, Sasayama, and Detective Toteno. I'm going to take down Alphard and save Maria Osawa's life. Just you watch and see.
Let's go, Kano!
Excuse me. Woo! This is intense. And now the final one. Time for the final story right now, before we get to some craziness. Just want to be sure, because I know a little bit of something. There's two things I've known about, by the way, for this game. I haven't been, like, super spoiled, but I know about a few things. Kitone and Queen Cheese. Do you know anything that happens after this point? I just want to know, because I know you two and Baba have been, like, the ones that closely focus on this game. I'm curious. I'm just curious. Before we continue. Don't know much. Okay. Well, you're gonna be in for a surprise. No, I'm gonna let it surprise you. I'm gonna let it surprise you. Because I've known three things, technically. I've known that there's an 1800... It goes onward from 1800. But there's one thing that I cannot say until the very end. And I don't know the ending to this game at all. But I'm not going to say something until the very end of 428 Shibuya Scramble. And I won't say anything until after this time. Tanaka hadn't been given his password. Osawa's last chance had gone up and spoke. He let a long, shaky breath and shut his eyes tight. Was it true? Was there nothing more he could do? Osawa's cell phone rang. When he saw the name on the incoming call display, he nearly shouted out loud. It was Hitomi.
Hitomi? Are you alright? Please tell me you're alright.
Yeah, I'm fine. But Maria's...
Maria? Is Maria there with you?
Osawa's heart leaped. Dad, there isn't any time for me to explain everything, so I'll have to just give you the main points. This is so we can save my sister, so just stay calm and listen. Osawa struggled to hold back the 1,000 questions that immediately came boiling into his mind. There's a girl named Cannon who's going to bring Maria to the lab. She's going to try to hack the password in order to get us inside.
Wait, hold on. Just what in the world is going on?
There are a bunch of people here working to help save Maria. Can you wait for us at the lab, Dad?
I'm not sure that electronic lock is something that'll be so easy to...
We've got another plan in motion too, and if that goes well, we might be able to learn the password. It was all too much to follow, but Osawa realized he'd have to take Hitomi at her word. It was their only hope of saving Maria.
Alright, he said. I'll do as you ask. But you said you're trying 2 approaches. You're not going to be in danger, are you?
No, I'll be fine. Don't worry about me.
Okay, very well. I'm heading to the laboratory now.
You can't. You can't go. The moment Osawa hung up and stared for the house, I clung to him from behind. If you use the antiviral now, she said, everything will go public. There's no way we can keep the virus of the antiviral under wraps at this point. Osawa tried to pull free, but his wife was stronger than he expected. Besides, if Maria affects other people, the whole world is going to find out in a matter of hours.
Besides, if Maria infects other people, the whole world is going to find out in a matter of hours.
No, we can just quarantine her. If it's handled correctly, we'll still be able to retain a secrecy. His voice was cold as ice.
Do you even have any idea what you're saying right now?
I do. I know how it sounds. But this is the only thing I can... Her voice trailed off. He could feel the force of her trembling when she held him.
Have I really put you into that much of a corner?
Osawa slipped from his arms and prostrated himself on the ground in front of her.
I'm sorry. I'm truly, truly sorry.
Oh, stop this! Get up! If you're really sorry, then don't go to that lab! But Osawa remained silent, his forehead pressed to the dirt. If you use that antiviral without corporate approval, your time with the Koshi is finished!
That doesn't matter to me anymore.
How can you say that? Virology is the only thing you ever cared about! I began pummeling his back.
Maybe virology is all that I care about. I don't know the first thing about anything else. I never wanted to know. Never even thought to find out. Never bothered to learn what you or my own children might think. I'm a failure. As a father, as a husband.
How dare you say that only after it comes to this? I struck him again, harder than before.
You're right, he gasped out the words between her blows. Maybe this has been too long coming. But it's not too late. I can still start over.
Start over? She paused in disbelief. You already turned down that American job. If you use that antiviral now, there won't be any starting over. You'll lose everything.
Will I lose you too?
After you've gone and thrown everything else away like this? How could I possibly stay with you? I was sobbing softly now. Osawa wondered what her tears were for, but there was only one thing he did know. She was right. They couldn't be together anymore. He got to his feet and headed back into the house, leaving Ai behind. No, he doesn't want Ai, Katone. He just wanted to be a good husband, and he hoped that he could make amends. He hurried through the back entrance and went into the garage. Climbed into his car and fastened his seatbelt and took a deep breath. The image of a younger Maria arose in the back of his mind. There she was at that park, getting drenched by the rain, holding back her tears as she waited for her father.
Oh, this is so sad! Wait for me, Maria. This time, I'm going to come for you.
Can't see the stream? I can't. The stream's still up. Unless Queen Cheese or Katone tell me otherwise. I was wrong. Going to the lab wouldn't mean losing everything. He left too many important things slip through his fingers. Now it was time to go take them back. Let's go, Osawa. Let's go! Osawa pulled his car onto the street and sped toward the laboratory. As if the signal that the long day was drawing to a close, the dazzling sun sank down between the buildings in the distance. The end of Osawa's story. Of his story. And... not 3, 5. Because in the final set of the game, you may not see it now, but we'll be playing 5 characters for the last part. Welcome to the final set of the game, 1800 to 20. We have 3 characters to play from right now, but we can't because of keep out. But as it shows... Yep, the last section is 2 hours long, so we're going to be doing this in a few parts. But as shown... And I'll tell you guys right here, right now, because it is shown in that part. We get to play as 2 new characters. 2 new characters will be played as in the final stretch of the game. But they're 2 characters that you guys absolutely know. And that's something I did know. If I can pull up... Hold on. I'm gonna try to see. So this is something that's actually teased about. Give me 1 second here. Oops. Let me... Save image, we'll do that. So this is something that I actually didn't, like, spoil myself on. This is actually something that I pieced together myself. I'm actually really proud I pieced it together myself. And I found this out after Maria. After the Maria part of this. Let me pull this up. So this is the official box art for the game. As you can see, we have played as Tama, who's in the right here, who's like right there. We played as Kano. You guys can't see my mouse. You played as Minorikawa, Osawa, and Achi. But there's Stanley and Hitomi also on that we have yet to play as. After we played as Maria, aka Tama, I had a theory that, you know, there's 2 more characters we still had to play as. Hitomi and Jack Stanley. So. What did somebody play as? Yep, exactly. No, I thought it was cool, like, once I realized it. As usual, still wish it was canon. Well, we're not going to play as canon, but there's something else I want to talk about canon, and that's going to be at the end of this entire series. As usual, though, we're going to go through all of the options. And we'll go from there. True. So we're just going to go through all the options. So there must be some way to get those locks open, right? Not possible, Cannon said, shaking her head, and you can't trust me on that. Lockbreaking is my specialty. Security must be tougher than Kano had thought then. Still, there are ways, they're just very indirect ways. Cannon paused before continuing in an ominous tone. 6 days ago, Alphard injected Hitomi Osawa with the UA virus. Katone, shh. Let's not talk about anime. Osawa heads up the lab. Would he be able to get it out? No. Accessing the storage facility requires the authentication of both Keiji Osawa and Mamoru Tanaka. It's impossible even for one of them to gain entry alone. That's right. Stanley and I mentioned the same thing. Lab security also performs a thorough body search of the building's exits. This ensures that employees can't sneak materials out on their way home from work. That level of security was perhaps understandable. Kano tried to think of other ways to gain access to the drug, but none came to him. 6 days ago. Let's see what goes on in the mind of hers. Gotcha. Oh, let's choose all the choices right now while we do it. We need to steal it. Just wait until the drug hits pharmacy shelves, right? Kenna narrowed her eyes at Kano's naivete. This isn't that sort of drug they'd sell at the corner store, she said. Getting approval for a new drug takes time. It could be another 5 to 10 years before this antiviral hits the marketplace. So essentially, if someone got their hands on the antiviral now, they'd have a monopoly on it for a good while, Kano asked. Now he understood why Alphard was going to such lengths to obtain the drug. Still, that only brought him back to the original question. How might someone go about stealing the antiviral from the laboratory? 6 days ago. Alright. So that should be all of Kano's. Meet up with Toyama. We'll do a common name. I do have to choose Endo first, but we're just gonna do Suzuki. Nope, that's not it. Nakamura. No, but I feel like we're on the right track. Decide on the television, the cafe, yeah. The remains of the individual discovered. Baby, what? Oh my gosh. Executive, Mamoru Tanaka. Mamoru Tanaka? Terama turned around the TV and the image of the victim's face. Bruh! I'd say it was him and Mamoru Tanaka. So you see a crack point out of the TV. That's what Keiji Osawa's dive spoon. Mamoru Tanaka. Felt himself getting goosebumps. He's being oofed. That's not good. Alright, let's choose 2 more. Takahashi. Yamamoto. No, but I feel like we're getting on the right track. Seriously? Does it give different things every time? I've already seen this, so. There we go. Common name number 2. Actually, no, we still have to do common name number 1. Sorry. Because otherwise we're not going to be able to continue because we need to still say that Achi is one of the names. To be on the right timeline. It's not right. Tanaka. No, not that. It was something else. Now wait for score buddies. 69. Alright then. That's interesting. Bruh! That's what I said! Tanaka! Of course. Alright. Approaching deadline. Wait. We'll do 3 days. Just give us 3 more days! Try to find it in your heart to wait 3 more days. That's not happening, Katayama said. Didn't so much bat an eyelash. You have 10 minutes and 46 seconds left. You son of a bitch, don't get all high and mighty just because you work for the printer. High and mighty, I'd say it's people on the publishing side of things, yeah. Just what am I getting at? Now it's 10 minutes, 20 seconds. Minorica ground his teeth so hard. There we go. Wait. There's not really like too much new dialogue for all these options. But we are at the climax there. Just give us till we're done. Until you're done. And when might that be, I wonder? Kachiyama's tone was dubious.
I said till we're done, Minorikawa snapped, and so...
And I mean till we're done. Kachiyama thought for a moment, then nodded. Very well. Then I shall wait. Until you're done.
Really?
Kachiyama gave another slight nod. You've got 10 minutes, 46 seconds left. Hey. As soon as I leave here, that's when you'll be done, you see. Kachiyama's face was a mask of cool nonchalance.
You son of a bitch, don't get all high and mighty.
Yeah. That's pretty interesting, though. Cool. Phone call from Toyama. Osawa. Speaking with questioning. Let's talk about Tanaka first. There's something Osawa needed to hear for himself before this went further.
Were you in love with Tanaka?
What are you talking about? Osawa frowned. Why did you marry me? He asked. You got to be kidding. This is the important discussion you want to have?
Did you ever love me?
I let out a joyous chuckle. Love, I'm amazed to even hear the word leave your lips. There was a note of challenge in her voice. Let me ask you the same question. Did you ever love me?
To be honest, I married you because I thought my daughters needed a mother.
Wow, I let out a weary sigh. Some of the combative tension left her shoulders. That really is honest, she said. So I guess I should be honest too. I married you because my father asked me to. He wanted you to chain you down so you didn't leave from some other company.
And you were okay with marrying someone for something like that?
For something like that, you really have no idea how much you're worth, do you? Value one's life, yeah, we've already done that. Into desperation, which you already know. What? And then guess correctly. Just to keep you tied. That's right, I would. But what would you even know about how I feel? True, I'm sorry, don't apologize. I'm not the victim here, you say that, but isn't it because of me that you and Tanaka weren't able to stay together? Yeah, whose name is Love. I only know that Kazuda Pri. When did you figure it out? Earlier today, the tie clip. Is listening device. Smile is better application here. President's interest. Oh, even Tanaka was suspected that she placed the company's profit above all else if she'd go to such lengths to protect his interests. Like she'd given up her entire life just for that. Well, she said, aren't you angry? Osawa just shook his head.
Could you just tell me one thing, though, he asked? Did Tanaka ever tell you what his lab password was?
His password? I need to get the antiviral out of the lab. I flinched at the suggestion. To get it out? What are you thinking? That belongs to the company.
I just need one dose to save Maria. Please. If you know, please tell me.
I don't know it. His voice was barely a whisper. Osawa looked at his wife right in the eye.
You're telling the truth.
I am.
I see.
And do you have any idea what number it might be? So essentially it just flips around the conversation. That's interesting. And we got the end. And that should be it. Maybe? Nope. Still have Achi. Forgot. Still got Achi. Dondo Gonzaka. That's probably the last time he and Tomi make their way. His anger rising, Achi picked up his speed and marched onward, wanting to confront his father as soon as possible. His father was wrong, but even if he was acting to save Suzune, he was absolutely wrong. A crime was a crime, regardless of the stuff. Yeah. Crime is finally to resist. I should take him down even if I have to use his fist. Even if I have to use my fists. Going to sleep. Have a good night, Cheese Lord. Take it easy. Wait, we've already seen this. Excuse me. There we go. Stanley's phone call. No, I lied. I was trying to still play up the fact that there was still one more set of hours. Who are you talking to? Stanley's reply was clipped.
That other idiot I was telling you about earlier.
With that, Stanley proceeded to wrap up his phone call. Guess I'm not going to get much information out of him. There's still a lot of bad endings left. There is a ton of bad endings in this last one. To the point where I don't think we're going to be able to, like... It's going to take a long time to get through this last part. Because apparently a ton of stuff happens. Achi was too shocked to even move. Stanley took another step toward Isuke, keeping his gun trained on the other man. Hey, stop this! Please, just stop! Snapping out of his daze, Achi scampered between the two men. Stanley didn't lower his gun, but let's turn to Achi's side. He couldn't get a clear shot at Achi's dad. Achi turned to face his father. And cool, that should be all of it. Alright, cool. Oops. Let us go to bad ending charts. So, at this time, why does it give that guide every time? We have gotten all of the endings for Osawa. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. My favorite was the bomb. And for Maria, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11, with my favorite one being the rock, paper, scissors, which was pretty funny. There's some pretty good ones too, but the rock, paper, scissors ones are pretty funny. We still got more for Kano, we still got more for Achi, and believe it or not, we still have even more for the man with all of the endings. Black hole ending? Keep in mind, the black hole ending is in Kano's. We haven't done that yet. We haven't gone through Kano's yet. Or all of Norikawa's, or all of Achi's. And we still got 2 more characters. We still got 2 more characters. So, honestly, as much as the game has some kind of like obvious quirks, where him going crazy, true. That's the shit right now. I'm sorry, Sparky. So, even though I understand that majority of Osawa's ending, or sorry, Osawa's endings, majority of like the twists in this game, like some of them are pretty, or can be like foreseen, but a lot of them have been actually really surprising. And especially for a game that came out in 2007, 2008, doing that is amazing. Like, absolutely mind-boggling. Excuse me. So, with that being said, I'm still saying that this is probably my favorite visual novel of all time. It's way better than Danganronpa. It's exceeded all my expectations with AI the Somnium Files. Zero Escape series, it's better than that too. Like, oh, Baba, you just got here at the end. Baba, you have a lot to catch up to, man. You have a whole lot to catch up to, Baba. I'm so sorry. But yes, this is definitely my favorite visual novel. And I hope for you who have been sticking with this game through thick and thin, through, you know, I've been hoping that more and more people have been checking out this game. It seems like a few more people have been checking out this game, but I've been hoping that I've been doing this game justice by showing a lot of people this, as many people as I possibly can. Even though this is blind for me, like I said, there's still one more thing that I know about. I alluded to it a little bit earlier, but whatever. I think this is one of my favorite visual novels of all time. Favorite game of all time? Possibly. But definitely favorite visual novel. Of the visual novel series, definitely my favorite. Definitely super, super good. With that being said, that's going to be it for 428 Shibuya Scramble. We are still going to be streaming this on Saturday. And what the plan is for the final one is we're going to stick it to 2-hour chunks because of the 2 hours of this one. There's a lot of stuff that I'm pretty sure happens in this. We are at like the last stretch of the game. The final stretch of the game. If we keep it 2-hour chunks, it still should be digestible with everything that's happening. And, you know, it's a 2-hour mad dash to get to this ending. To get even all the bad endings, all the choices. So, if I had to take a guess, we have 3 more streams of the end of the game. That's my guess. I think it's going to take us about 6 hours or so to get through this last chunk. I'm going to confirm that with my friend David, David D, who is in the Discord, who is one of my Discord mods. He's been playing through the game as well. He's a little bit further than me, so he's already gotten to this point. He didn't tell me about this, but I think he's to the point where he's beating the game. So I'll get a confirmed time from him, and then that way we can divvy it out based on the amount of streams. This should be done before we get to Animal Crossing or anything like that. So that should be good. And we're finishing up Katawa Shoujo this week with Emi's Route, so that should be good too. Now, as far as the game for tonight, weirdly enough, it's not Dead by Daylight. We're actually not playing Dead by Daylight tonight. I'm going to be playing that in my free time, actually. So we're not going to be doing another stream for another hour and a half. One, I got to take medication because my throat is killing me. And I'm so sorry that I did not... I did not stream this with a good throat. Like, my voice is shot. I came to work today. My voice was gone. I couldn't speak for the first hour at work. I had to take phone calls for 3 hours. Weirdly enough, Red Bull kind of brought it back, which is crazy. But, you know, I wanted to give you guys a stream. I wanted to give you guys 2 streams today. I'm going to stick to it. We're going to be playing My Time at Porsche, starting at 11. And that one, we're actually going to be doing a full week time frame in My Time at Porsche. So we're not gonna do like 3 or 4 days and stop or something like that. We're doing a full week of the game, and then we'll stop it, and then we'll end that off for the day. Very pinky, gosh, we're not at the game yet. Hold on, hold your horses. Hold Crisanta. I'm not going to say anything more about other visual novels coming to the channel here after this one. We'll talk about that as time goes on. But, yeah, for the next hour and a half, there's some things I have to do. There's some Identity 5 things I got to do. There's some Dead by Daylight things I got to do. I actually got to record Dead by Daylight by itself, fun fact, for something that also is coming this week. So be on the lookout for that. But, did you rep my quads enough? Bruh! You didn't rep your quads? Dang, Queen Cheese. I don't understand what you're referencing. One more thing I want to say as well. You guys should be getting 3 videos this week. I have wrote down on a piece of paper, and it says, do not sleep until this is done per day to get all 3 videos edited and released. I'm going to stick to that. I believe that I can do it. You guys should be getting 2 highlight videos this week and the update for March. Saying the 3 new games that's coming out in March. Excuse me. As well as talking about memberships and such coming up too. Anyway, with all that being said, thank you guys so much for watching 428 Shibuya Scramble. I hope you guys really enjoyed the story. I hope you guys really enjoyed the game. We're at the final stretch. I'm excited. But thank you guys so much for watching. Have a wonderful day, night, morning, afternoon, night, or evening. My name is Katathi, and I'll see you guys next time for more Variety Gaming. See you guys later. Peace. Bye, everyone.